Well, hello everyone to this Thursday morning if you are in Europe, Thursday evening if you're in Asia, and of course it is still basically the middle of the night if you're anywhere out west. But welcome one and all anyway to the AMX ESPORTS Championship. We're going to be heading to Limerock Park for the Junior Cup in just a couple of moments time before we head to the land down under at Bathurst for the AMX ESPORTS Championship proper. My name is Connery Merrick, and well, as ever, I will be joined by the ever wonderful Sumil Aurora for this particular broadcast. And well, it's another day. It's the AMX ESPORTS Championship again. We have the junior drivers, and once we get to the championship proper, we will have our sim drivers once again. Of course, it's a slightly changed schedule compared to what we were planning due to some of the live event restrictions that are going on in South Korea at the moment. We couldn't quite have our second offline event scheduled when it was supposed to, so we're going to move on into the online events, and we'll have rescheduled the offline event for a little bit later on. But Sumil, it's well, the cycle starts again, I suppose.
Exactly. It's been a while, Conrad. It's been a while since we've been right here commentating on the AMX ESPORTS Championship and bringing you all the action. And honestly, I've missed it quite a fair bit, especially the Junior Championship. Because here, honestly, there's a lot of chaos mixed in with a great degree of great performances. Case in point, what we saw from Yunho Park the last time out we came here at Laguna Seca. I rewatched the race yesterday and I was fascinated. Like, this guy is genuinely good. It's no small matter then that his team is the one also leading the major championship.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty crazy. Low practice times do tell a little bit of a different story at the moment. We will get into that in just a couple of moments. But AMX Junior Cup here, round number 7. We are getting, well, surprise, surprise, relatively close to the end of the season now. It feels like last week that we started the season off at Tsukuba Circuit. But now we are at Limerock Park with only 4 rounds to go here in this one. And, well, what a championship it has been, Sumil. Dominant in one sense, of course, with Yunho Park just completely stopping the field on most occasions. the battle for the rest of the podium positions in the mid-pack, though, have been particularly potent.
They really have been, especially when you look only slightly down. You've got some really good drivers like Sung Young Khan who are fighting in. You've got Junho Jang who's fighting in for those top positions as well. On the whole, there's quite a few talented drivers who are taking the fight up, but no one to the level of Yunho Park. No one who's actually able to take it to that gear that Yunho is able to. And in the midfield, we've seen so many good fights and so many good comeback drives as well from a few drivers who've crashed out initially and have fought back. I think the defining factor in this championship so far that separates drivers in the midfield is their temperament, how they control things when things go wrong. Because definitely, with such a grid, with so much chaos happening, some point of time you are going to witness some sort of setback. It's how you bounce back from that really is the defining factor in this one.
Yeah, and remember, a lot of these drivers are very young, so they haven't, maybe some of them haven't quite developed that skill just yet, but that's the entire point of this series, is to allow the drivers to race amongst some of their very, very quick peers and to develop those sorts of attitudes going forward that will really benefit them if they decide to take the leap, or if they can take the leap into the main championship or any other sim racing competitions that they decide to enter. So this is definitely more of a development series. I'm interested to see what these guys do, you know, maybe after we're done here, coming into future seasons or into anything else they do. It's going to be absolutely incredible. But less about that, more about the track. We head to Limerock Park, which is probably the most familiar circuit to anyone on iRacing. It is, well, at least on the roadside, of course, one of the rookie tracks that is often used in the Mazda MX-5s. But, of course, we use the Radicals here for this one, just that little bit faster, just a little bit, compared to the Miatas. But Limerock Park, it is, for all intents and purposes, Sumil, dead simple.
Yeah, I can't nail it. It's a simple track, but it's actually one that requires so much commitment, especially in that middle sector. Hell, it starts right away from the beginning. You've got this long right-hand corner that you've got to commit to. The Big Ben, aptly named the Big Ben. And with the Radicals, it's going to be frantic, Conway, because with the MX-5s, you can chuck the car in easily and the tail end won't slide so badly. With the Radicals, though, things are different. This car is so loose. And at the Big Ben, it's going to be real trouble for many drivers to keep the car straight because the rear end really wants to slide out. And everywhere, every single corner, this place is all about commitment on the corners.
It really is. It's, you know, those opportunities are going to be, in a way, few and far between. Of course, you get that whole bunch of slipstream down the main straight into Turn 1, but not too heavy a braking zone is that. It's a very winding couple of apexes, though, before you get yourself into that more technical, slow-speed section towards the very start of the lap. But, yeah, we'll have to wait and see, you know, if that causes a problem for the drivers. But, of course, you know, this track has changed since it was first introduced to iRacing, especially regarding the layout in the middle of the lap. We have, of course, the chicane that was implemented for this new version of Limerock Park. But previously, you would just have that fast uphill right-hander, and usually you have trouble coming over the crest as the car gets loosed. But not so in this one. It is the Grand Prix layout instead of that classic one.
Yeah, exactly. I quite like it. I think it just adds a little bit of flavor to the circuit, as if it lacked any already. And speaking of changes in layout, honestly, I found this fun thing. I was looking up the data for Limerock Park, looking at old onboard laps and old articles about Limerock Park. And since this circuit literally came into existence, the layout has more or less just been the same. I read a very interesting quote somewhere. If you take a driver from 1957 and put them right here in a time machine, they wouldn't feel a difference because the natural layout of the circuit is the same. The only difference is this small chicane. Everything else is more or less the same. In fact, there might be some trees that might be lasting since 1957 as well. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe, just maybe. They tend to stick around for that long, don't they? So, but yeah, we're eagerly anticipating the start of the qualifying session here. That will tick on over in just 1 minute's time. We will have a little bit of a condensed schedule today, especially with regards to the AMX ESPORTS Championship, the main race, or rather the main races coming up a little bit later on. qualifying will be pulled forward by about 10 minutes because there is some iRacing maintenance that needs to be done that overruns slightly with the end of the proceedings here today. So that's why we had to just bring everything, well, not everything, but the AMX ESPORTS Championship just that 10 minutes earlier, just to make sure that we can get in without any disruption at the very end of this one. So hopefully I'm not jinxing it in any way at this point. But yeah, it's we should be all clear with regards to that coming into that sim driver race. But before we get to that, we do have this Junior Cup event. And, well, top of the practice times at the moment, Woojin Shin going fastest of everyone, almost by a tenth of a second over Junho Jang, then Sungyeon Kang third. Surprise to most people, though. Yunho Park fifth in practice at the moment before we get to qualifying.
Yeah, I think Yunho Park is doing a Sebastian Vettel of the old days. He's just taking it easy, taking it chill until the right moment arrives, the right lap arrives, and Yunho Park might go P1. And I'm actually very fascinated at that, Conrad, because Limerock Park is the most driver circuit out of all the driver circuits that you have on the junior calendar. You really have to be a better driver, be more aggressive, be more committed on the corners. And here, I'm wondering if Yunho Park can keep up his streak of being around about a tenth and a half faster than everyone else in qualifying. That's got me very intrigued so far.
So we get ourselves switched on over into qualifying modes in the AMX Esports Junior Cup. You can already see pit lane a very busy place as drivers take themselves to the circuit. It's Jojun Choi who's leading them out there. He'll be the first car, if he remains in that position, to set himself a fast lap time. But it is, well, all lap times are relatively quick around here, Sumal, considering we were seeing around about 47 seconds of some of the faster guys in practice. So these laps do come by very quickly.
Oh yeah, it's a very demanding circuit in that sense. And it's a good point you mentioned that one. 47 seconds the lap for each round of the circuit, basically. And the straight at the back as well. It's barely anything, right? It's only a few seconds and the home stretch is done already. So mentally, it's a very taxing circuit because you've got barely any moments to think about your race. Maybe to take a breath, maybe to look around here and there. And that means that for the drivers, it's going to be such a critical challenge just to stay in the zone for 20 odd minutes, because this circuit demands so much that off tracks like this one can be such a challenge. And unless you're not focusing, unless your mind is not in the right place, that can happen more often than not.
That's going to ruin Taeyeon Kim's start to the lap, considering he wouldn't have been able to carry as much speed down in towards turn number 1 as he would have wanted. So not going ideally for the number 16. But due to the lap times being so short, you do get plenty of opportunities here in qualifying to be able to set yourself that fast time. So you shouldn't worry too much here that the initial lap hasn't exactly gone your way. But here comes Jojun Choi then. I said he was the driver that was going to be the first to set a fast lap time here. Across the line he comes. It is a 48.8, which is a good baseline to build up off of. Let's see what everyone else is able to do as they head their way through and across the line. Jojun Choi still provisional pole position at the moment as he goes for that little bit of an off-track excursion. Where is Yunho Park? He is out there, perhaps in a little bit of traffic at the moment here. We already know of Yunho Park's dramas in qualifying. He doesn't usually like to set his fast lap time until the dying moments of the session, and this is maybe one of the reasons why.
Yeah, exactly. And Yunho Park and traffic don't really have a very good relationship, as you saw, dodging two cars as he got past that section right there. Remember, what circuit was it? Aida, Okayama, basically. That was where Yunho Park had such an issue, because when he was leading the race by a big margin, around 10 odd seconds, he got hit by two lapped cars while doing their own business right there. And that was why he potentially lost the race. There was another reason why he made his own error at the very end, the only one he's made so far this year. But him and lap traffic, it's just not something that goes hand in hand together for some reason.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the case, but Woojin Shin, well, continuing on his particular run in practice, he goes fastest here in qualifying here for the moment as well, with a handful of minutes done. Still the vast majority of the session to go, though, so still not secure as far as Woojin Shin is concerned, but you start to worry about Yunho Park, you start to worry about Sungyeon Kang as well, who is still yet to set a lap time. Looks like Sungyeon Kang, same with Yunho Park, is on a fast lap right now. Let's ride on board with Sung Yong Kang, who's been one of Park's closest challengers, I would say.
Yeah, one of Park's closest challengers on the track, not in terms of on paper. As you can see, Sung Yong Kang really pushing the envelope, as every single driver who's raced at Limerock Park on the sim has done so far. But Sung Yong Kang, with him, there's always that pace there, Conrad. He's the closest one of the lot to Yunho Park. He's just a couple of tenths away, but that's a couple of tenths away every single lap. And it compounds over the distance of a 20-odd minute race, which is why you see Yunho Park with all these big gaps. On one lap pace, I don't think he's that bad. I don't think he's so far away. But the fact that Yunho can maintain that 2 tenths of a second gap every single lap is what makes him the better driver in a situation like this.
Well, when we get to the actual racing events here today, well, traffic might be one of the big concerns at a circuit such as this, because it is so short. You catch up on the back of the field so quickly. Jojun Choi up into pole position. Fantastic lap time from the number 17. Sung Yong Kang now across the line with the 48 flat, which is not going to be good enough for pole position. Good enough for 4th place though, and at least he gets himself on the board. But what a lap from Junho Chang to go a tenth of a second faster than Yunho Park.
Yet that might change right down to the very end, because that's how every single qualifying over the last few odd weekends has been so far. But still, it's quite a commendable lap going into the 47.8 right now, and you can see the difference. It's barely anything between the top 4, only a tenth and a half, but that is where you see the difference coming in between the top 5 and all the others. There is a clear class difference right there, and they're bossing it right now.
Just as Junho Chang goes faster than his time, Woojin Shin goes even faster. So Woojin Shin now provisional pole position. So this qualifying's looking all of a sudden pretty competitive. That was Yunho Park coming across the line with a 49.3, which is nowhere near enough. He's caught in a little bit of traffic right now. So this is looking pretty spicy between the top couple of contenders at the moment. Maybe Yunho Park has a bit more time in him. We know he has a bit more time in him. We know he has at least 3 tenths of a second to try and get himself up into provisional pole, but look how much traffic he's in right now.
Exactly, he's swamped all the way through, and I'm wondering, has Yunho Park potentially taken it a bit easy in terms of his preparation for the race? And I doubt it. Look at him. He's done the smart thing by letting the lapped car go past. He's going to do the same thing with another car going past. He needs clean air. You give him a bit of that, and Yunho Park will knock it right out of the park into pole position.
Weaving, getting temperature into the tyres coming across the line. He's still weaving on the way down in towards turn number 1. So I doubt whether this will be his actual lap here, because you're taking a longer distance by doing that in towards turn number 1 after you pass the start-finish line, of course, so it will affect the lap. But I won't judge. He's the fastest driver in this series, so I won't judge anything that he does. But 5th place at the moment for Yunho Park, which is around about where he ended up in practice. So is Yunho Park really 5th fastest here? Is that his true pace?
I'm not sure, and I'm not convinced that that would be the case, because he has been by far and away the fastest one. Again, it brings a bit of doubt, it brings a bit of wonder about, has the balance actually shifted in the AMX Esports Junior Championship? But I guess we can't quite tell with 3 minutes to go, because the best of Yunho Park's laps have come in the dying moments of the session. As we could see already, he was warming up his tyres, getting things into prime conditions, which is what the best drivers end up doing all the time.
Where is Junho Chang? There he is. 2nd place in qualifying at the moment. Just shy of a tenth of a second off of Woojin Shin's time. It's 1 of 47.658 to beat in the dying moments of this session. Junho Chang will get a couple more laps in. So it doesn't matter if he misses the mark this time. He does miss the mark, 49 seconds. I think that was a bit of an outlap there by Junho Chang. Another fastest lap though coming in from Woojin Shin, who goes about a tenth and a half faster than his previous fast lap.
Very nice. Woojin Shin is piling on the pressure to everyone out there in this championship right now. I think this just has to be one of his best qualifying performances so far, purely in terms of the margin he's pulling out to all the other drivers. But this is going to be fun. This is going to be Yunho Park's one fast lap.
Well, let's have a look at it then. Of course, the rules are slightly different here in the AMX, in the Junior Cup, considering you can finish your lap when the time expires. That is not the case when it comes to the AMX Esports Championship. So he might get himself another opportunity in, but Yunho Park then in towards the chicane there, trying to clip those apex as neatly as possible. Just about gets through there. 30 seconds is the lap time, heading his way through up towards the final couple of corners. Now Hee-Jung An getting himself up into P3. Great lap there from the number 13. But now Yunho Park through the final corner, runs to the line. This is going to be one of his final chances. He'll get one or two more at the end of this one. It is a 147.404 to beat. It's a 147.9 for Yunho Park. It's simply not enough as Woojin Shin is just getting faster.
He is. Maybe, just maybe, that might just be Yunho Park's actual pace. Who knows? Because that lap looked very, very clean. It looked very neat and tidy. But I wonder, what has Woojin Shin done all of a sudden to go not... What has he done?
I thought Junho Jang just got a 47.1 there, but it was a little bit of a glitch in our graphics. He's about at 700ths of a second behind, though. It was faster for Jang.
So close, so close. I'm just loving the margins in this championship, and it could all change yet with 20 odd seconds to go. Is Yunho still on his lap? I think he is. I wonder, can he get faster? He has gone faster, but it's a big but here, Connery.
It is, as here is Woojin Shin then. Can he put the final nail in the coffin as he comes out of the final corner? He'll come across land. He could theoretically complete another lap here. 147.992. About 4/10 of a second off of his fastest time there, so that might be it for Woojin Shin. Here comes Junho Jang then. He's heading his way through the first couple of corners, so he will be able to complete that lap, in fact. Yunho Park, in fact, this is his final lap. He won't get another opportunity after this one, so it's a straight shoot for pole position. Car off in the grass ahead of Yunho Park. Is he able to get onto pole position this time around, or has he run out of steam? It's a 47.764. It is not enough for Yunho Park. He'll start no higher than third place. Hee-Jung An, he's run out of steam towards the end here as well. Jojun Choi, also no lap set. A couple other cars down on towards the pit lane. Woojin Shin, though, across the line at 47. Let's confirm it. 47.389. He's gone even faster, even though he didn't need to.
What are we seeing here? Yunho Park has been dethroned as the qualifying king, and not by one car, by two of them. What a lap by Woojin Shin though. That final one, I think he just went full on banzai in that last one, because he went a tenth faster than a lap time that was 3/10 faster than what Yunho Park had done. Amazing. He's beaten the benchmark by some margin here, Connery, and it's got me on the edge for this race. What can he do here now?
Let's take a look at the starting grid then from qualifying. Woojin Shin, what a pole position that was. That was crazy stuff from the driver of the number 4 car. Junho Jang, great front row start for him as well. Yunho Park, your championship leader, starts from 3rd today with Hee-Jung An in 4th, not too far behind. Sung-Young Kang, 5th place today with Jojun Choi in P6. Then Kyo Lee P7, Jojun Choi in P8, Sukyo Nam P9, Junho Kim in P10, Jumbo Hong P11, and Jinwook Choi will start in 12th today. Hong So Jang in 13th with Woo Jae Sung 14th, Yunwoo Na 15th, Mingal Kim 16th, Taehyung Kim and Hee Sung Na will line up on the 9th row of the starting grid. That is the 9th and final row of the starting grid here today. So what a dramatic qualifying that we've had here, Subel. That was edge of the seat stuff, and now we might even see an edge of the seat race as well.
100%. I think it's the first time ever that Yunho Park has not qualified on the front row in this championship, which means that not just for Yunho Park, not just for a comeback drive, but for the first time we might just see the drivers at the top pull out a very commanding drive. What kind of a fight can they put on when they're on the front row alone, not with the one driver that has been dominating the championship? The order has been changed here, Connery. Will there be a change in psychology? Will there be a change in the way they approach the race? I certainly hope not, because I genuinely want to see Woojin Shin and Junho Jang go head to head against each other like they normally would, because that right there could be the recipe of a very good battle, plus lap traffic as well.
It could well be, as drivers just waiting patiently behind the pace car. What an opportunity it is for Woojin Shin to get himself a race win here today. Same with Junho Jang as well. Both front row starters doing exemplary well in qualifying, able to get themselves ahead of someone as strong as Yunho Park. It feels like maybe Yunho Park's having a little bit of an off day here today, but we will just have to wait and see, because typically Yunho Park's race pace in particular has been absolutely crazy, but he's never really been put under pressure just like this before.
I think the last time we saw that was Oran Park, wasn't it? Where he got slightly taken around. He didn't end up winning that race at Oran Park, but he came awfully close to putting up a very good comeback. Maybe this could be the one again.
Here we go then, under the pace car. Rolling start, of course, go on green. What's going to happen down in towards turn number 1? We all wait with anticipation as the AMX Esports Junior Cup at Limerock Park. We're almost at the end of the season, everyone, as we get the green flag here and racing on the way down in towards turn number 1. There's been a big incident at the back. His car spun into the pit wall there. Junho Jang leads, though, from Woojin Shin. So Junho Jang up into the race leader with everyone falling in line behind. Everyone single file, at least for the front half of the field. A little bit of scrapping further back going on as Jojun Choi's in the wall. And I think Sukun Nam or Antean Kim also got involved in that incident coming down in towards turn 1.
Going down the hill, another major accident at the back right there, but luckily nothing at the top. It is still Junho Jang leading from Woojin Shin, and they have pulled away, Connery. They have built up a second over Yunho Park, which is stunning. They must have got a lightning getaway at the top.
Yeah, they absolutely did. What a move though for Junho Jang to be able to get himself up into the race lead. Let's maybe take another look at it if we can get ourselves the view of the start here in just a couple of moments. This was the move from Junho Jang. I'll just wind it back just that little bit further. Of course, Jang starting on the outside there. He just got a better start. He reacted better to the green flag than Woojin Shin, and he just got ahead as a result.
And he did a very smart thing right there, Connery. He broke off and he cut off the right line heading into turn number 1, so that Shin Woojin just could not get the edge right there. He cut off the right line, and that right there is very, very mindful driving. Sungyum
Kang's had a problem. Sungyum Kang has had a problem here, as we'll try and get the replay of it. I just saw him dropping down my timing screen there. What has happened to one of the top contenders in the championship? Is it an issue on the brakes into the chicane? Not on the brakes. Collides the 13 of Lee Jang-an.
That is a very unfortunate one. The curbs right there can genuinely make the car shake up. And once you're side by side with anyone at that corner, it is just advisable to back off, and he did not do that. Not entirely his fault, that accident right there, but that's a very precarious position to be in, Connery, just making life worse for yourself.
Look at this battle for second though, Woojin Shin versus Yunho Park. Look at this, Yunho Park trying to make up for relatively poor qualifying for him. Of course, for everyone else that would have been a pretty good qualifying, but for Yunho Park, he expects nothing less than pole position and nothing less than the second step on the podium. At the moment, looks to the inside, the closing gap as both cars spin through turn 1. Here comes Lee Jang-an, gets one pass done. I don't know whether he'll get past Woojin either. He breaks up behind him, now looks to go around the outside. Can't get anything done there though.
It's a gift. It's a gift for Lee Jang-an. He's got the biggest position in the entire championship as a gift, and he might just have such a good run. But Connery, the second piece of misjudgment by Yunho Park the entire season. Watch this. He comes up, gets a very good run, and look at it. He will go down the inside line right now, but I guess the door just wasn't open at the time when he broke in. The line was shutting up. I think he should have backed off a little bit, no?
Yeah, it was an optimistic gap. Yes, there was a slight gap, but it's one that the driver on the outside there is always going to come down and cut across.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what the steward's view of that one is, though. But my words, this is carrying on from the dramatic qualifying. We do have the dramatic race at the moment, but Junho Jang hoping for no dramas. Look at him, he's got 4.7 seconds over the rest of the field here. He is trying to run for the hills. Meanwhile, Yunho Park did get past Lee Jang-an. I think maybe Lee Jang-an let that one go, maybe feeling that he was in, well, no, he didn't let that one go, of course. It was just a simple pass there for Yunho Park to speed through.
Yeah, he was faster. He always had a better pace than Hee Jung-an, and he was able to squeeze past easily. And look at this one right now. There is a bit of a fight back, though. Hee Jung-an is trying for something down to the inside line, Conry, potentially. Maybe he'll try against it because he's seen exactly what can happen right there a lap ago. I don't think he did the right thing. I think he did the right thing is what I mean to say. I'm sorry. Slip of tongue.
Yeah, here's the onboard with Jojun Choi, who we haven't really talked about really at any point during the season. And also, he's been able to get himself inside the top 5 here, which is absolutely brilliant for the driver of the 675. Let's see if he can get a little bit more, though, because, one thing that isn't working in his favour at the moment is the fact that damage is off. So, no matter how many incidents that the cars ahead of him get into, they're not going to be damaged, they're not going to be off the pace. So, that's not going to work in the 675's favour at the moment, but he's got himself in a good position. He's got a decent gap over Sung Yong Kang behind him, who we know is a fast driver, so we'll keep an eye on that gap as it progresses. But looking pretty good in P5 at the moment, and Hee Jung-an sometimes has these scrappy apexes, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, coming back to Jojun Choi for a second, he actually is one of the best sim racing drivers in Korea, and taking part in just his first race in the AMX ESPORTS Championship right here. He's the one who debuted this time, and he actually has participated in the Logitech McLaren G Challenge last year as well, an all-invitational league, so certainly has got the potential right here. And I'm a bit amazed, Conry, only in his first round, he's actually slapped the car right up with no terms of bad luck to all the other drivers, and is staying in P number 5. He's done this on his own merit, and the best part is, he is sticking with Hee Jung-an.
That he is. So, what a great thing to... What a great thing to do with regards to joining this session, joining this season partway through, almost pretty much immediately getting up to speed of some of the fast cars. That is, that requires a whole bunch of talent, and it seems like Jojun Choi definitely has that. I have to wonder if he was with us at the start of the season, at what point he'll be at now.
Exactly, and I'll make it even better. I'll throw an even bigger curveball right here. What if Jojun Choi had actually been on iRacing a few races before this? Because this, honestly, believe it or not, is his first official race on iRacing ever. He's not driven on the service in terms of an official race, and he's up there, P5, with the best juniors in all of South Korea. Man, this guy might have something, you know?
Yeah, we'll see. A bit of lap traffic getting out of the way back there. That's the only thing that can really put a damper on Junho Jang's race at the moment. Look at that coming through the chicane. He has to slow up a huge amount. That's a huge amount of lost time for Junho Jang, dealing with the lap traffic that continues to have an instant ahead of him.
What is this going on right here? It could just become Yunho Park from Okayama Park 2.0, because the lap cars nearly took Junho Jang right there. And this is what we mean when we mean that the traffic could be a problem. It's not that they don't want to let you go past, it's just that sometimes they're fighting within each other, and that can lead to some major problems for Junho Jang, the leader.
Yeah, here comes Yunho Park. Yunho Park has set the fastest lap twice in a row right now, so he's trying to drive the wheels off of that thing, swings it around the outside of the lap traffic. He's certainly not hanging around at this stage in the race. They're pushing pretty much the entire 20 minutes here of this one. We're yet to hit the halfway point of this race, believe it or not, but I think we've got enough content to fill ours.
Yeah, exactly. It's been so dramatic, so many changes, and Junho Jang has been the one seizing the opportunity. But take a look at the timing screen, guys. Take a look at how that gap with Junho Jang has shrunk down. It was 5 seconds, came down to 2.5 with that accident. Even then, he's lost 0.6 of a second. This right here could be the chance for Woojin, Shin and Yunho Park to attack, because momentum currently not on the side of Junho Jang.
No, it's not. Simply put, it's not at the moment, but it can be recovered though. That's the thing. He's got a little bit clearer ahead of him. He can get back in the zone, so to speak, and try and focus on his own lap. So he doesn't have to deal with any lap traffic for the moment. Well, Woojin Shin does have to deal with lap traffic at the moment. He's stuck up behind the car coming through the chicane. Might put him under threat from Yunho Park, although Yunho Park is going to get a little bit impeded by the traffic on the way through the final couple of quarters. But Park might have a decent run here, depending. Out the final corner, no, it is going to be a little bit too far back to be able to make a move for P2 at this stage. But Park continuing to put in some decent laps regardless of the traffic. Whether or not it'll, well, it puts him in contention for P2. Whether or not it'll allow him to catch all the way back up to Junho Zhang at the front still remains to be seen, as Zhang seems to be extending the gap again.
Yeah, not that he needs to big time, because his championship will still be intact. He'll still have a big gap in relation to all the other drivers, but it's a nice thing to have. It's a nice thing to go ahead and win every single race that he possibly can. And yes, the gap is extending, but I think there could be a chance, because honestly, we've not seen Junho Zhang be in the lead of a race like this ever. He's taking to it very well, but it can happen that the nerves get to you, sort of drop off on your consistency. Hoping that that doesn't happen for him. But Yunho Park is the more comfortable driver leading the race. And both of them are in unique situations, because both of them have not been in a situation where, for instance, Yunho has to lead a race or Yunho has to catch up.
And if I remember correctly, this will be Junho Zhang's potential first win of the championship. Of course, Yunho Park has taken the lion's share of every single one at the moment, but Hee-Jung An got himself a race win, I believe. That was at one of the oval events at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and of course the other one I think was Sung-Yong Kang at Okayama. Yeah, if I remember correctly. See, I'm trying to remember all these all off the top of my head. I don't actually have the list in front of me, but yeah. Apart from those two events, Yunho Park has won all of them. This might be the third event where Park's not on the top step.
Which is genuinely surprising when you consider the kind of dominance he brings onto the track. Say last time out at Laguna Seca, you would be amazed to think that this guy can ever lose, ever not win a race by less than 5 seconds. But that's just happening right here. He has been slightly swamped in this part right now, Conrad. This is good for the championship. Spices things up way more than it actually is right now.
Yeah, it is, as we see the battle for 12th up on screen. Jojun Choi, Woojin is another battle featuring here. Kai-Hu Lee actually got himself a drive-through penalty, so he's having to come down on towards the pit lane. It was the same for Jung-Ho Kim as well, and there was another driver that also had themselves a penalty. His name escapes me at the moment, but yeah, the penalties have already started to come through from the early portions of the race, but no penalty for the Yunho Park incident.
Yes, exactly, which I think might be under review right now. I think the stewards will take their time with that one and carefully analyze what was right there. But on paper, at least, on the outside, it looked like Yunho was the one at fault. Oh no, big accident with the last car in the background there. That's Jung Bum Jong.
Yeah, and Sung-Yong Kang got himself spun around by the bit of lap traffic there. Let's see what happened here, because that lap traffic seemed to be coming from behind into the chicane without due care for the car ahead. But let's see if that is the truth there, because Hee-Jung An got slowed up by it. So this is the overtake attempt by Sung-Yong Kang, and that car just completely blows it on the brakes there. That's the most obvious penalty I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't make a move there at that chicane. It's too risky a thing to do unless you have the advantage coming into the corner. So I don't think that was a very smart move right there, to be honest.
Yeah, I would completely agree with your assessment there. As currently 7 minutes left to go. Still a bit of a question mark regarding this P2 here, because Yunho Park's still sitting around about 0.8 of a second behind at this point. So it seemed like the early pace for Yunho Park here has really dropped off as Woojin deals with a little bit of lap traffic through this low speed sector. That's something that Yunho Park's going to have to deal with as well. He's going to lose a little bit of time through the on-camber right-hander before they get themselves onto what is actually called the no-name straight. So maybe pairing it with the corner at Sparkle no-name corner, which actually does have a name now, but we'll ignore that. But it seems like the early pace though for Yunho Park, the early race pace seems to have petered out a little bit. And it's just kind of remaining the same distance to the car behind, to the car ahead, excuse me.
Yeah. I think Yunho has been constantly trying to attack, constantly been on top gear. But so far, I think the more impressive part is that Junho Zhang and Woojin Shin are able to hold up the gaps together. Maybe they've just put in more work in the off-season as we see a car going for a bit of a lawnmower movement out there.
That is Woojin Sung having a issue there. Let's take a look at it. Not sure what this was about, but it's worth taking a look anyway. Onto the front straight. Maybe it's a bit of a misjudgment on the brakes of T1. It was an off at the back, but let's see. Yeah, as soon as you dip 2 tires into the grass, that's going to be the car around.
I think it's a good learning, right? It's the best platform to learn things like this one when you have a car like the Radical, which is so twitchy. Before you go into any big cars like GT3s or GTE, it's always fun to have these learnings in, and this is turning out to be interesting, isn't it?
Yep, Yunho Park trying to go around with the inside. It's the 10-1. Oh, there's been an instant ahead there. Woojin Shin hanging around the inside for these next couple of Apex. But it comes the outside this one, and Yunho Park still can't get his way through. But what in the world happened ahead of them?
I have absolutely no clue, but I just saw the funniest thing I've ever seen. Yunho Park just swatting aside a car right there, like, you move out of the way, buddy, you're not in my league on its own. I don't know if that'll be a penalty or not, but Yunho Park on the right hand side, look at how he just wrecks the car and moves past. like Speed Race in the movie back in 2008.
I'm going to look back at this. Let's see the view from Yunho Park, because I didn't quite see it on the live pictures, but you can see, boom, out of the way, through into the barriers. Yeah, that's one of
that's quite
things.
something.
That's one of those things you just have to laugh at. But the battle continues, by the way. This thing between Woojin Shin and Yunho Park still isn't over, with 4 minutes left to go. 4.5 seconds is the gap between P1 and P2. Junho Zhang's going to be happy about that, as long as he doesn't have similar issues with traffic.
Exactly. I think the Yunho Park way is, if you don't give me space, I will take my space. And that motto might be conveyed to Woojin Shin as well, because Yunho is closing up and that gap has come down quite a fair bit. Watch out into turn number 1, Conry. I think this might be it.
Might be. Let's have a look.
Might
Look
be.
to the
Yeah,
inside.
this time.
Well, a nose to the inside for Yunho Park, but nothing doing through there. Now, is there any traffic ahead of these guys that's going to be an immediate pressing factor? I don't think so. Here's the onboard with Woojin Shin. A car a little bit further down the road, but that's not an immediate threat at the moment. There's the view back to Yunho Park, who has, well, one of his more interesting races here today, all things considered. But still 3 minutes of this one to run. Looks like race leaders off the cards for these guys, pending any external factor. So Junho Zhang should, touch wood, have that on lockdown. But P2 undecided between Woojin Shin and Yunho Park. Oh, this has the potential to get a bit spicy, doesn't it?
It does, and I hope it doesn't get too spicy. Almost right there. We saw the line being cut off, and Yunho Park could have done the move right there, but it would have been a bad move because both the cars would be in the barrier. So good judgment, Conry, but you're right. I think it could get a bit too spicy. I think this might just go over the edge. And this is where Yunho Park is to remember. I still have the championship in the bag. Do I need to push it so hard?
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. Championship becomes above race performances. But like I've said many times before, Subil, a driver doesn't think like that. They want to.
Exactly.
There's a race to win. There's a race to where you can gain the position. You're going to try and gain that position. You're going to try and win that race. So sometimes that takes over what you would consider the more reasonable option. Oh, Yunho Park went very wide there.
Yeah, exactly. This is not turning out well for Yunho Park. He's only got a few minutes to do that, and that crash right there certainly did not help out. But Conry, I think we're in a funny stage of the championship where Yunho Park has around about a 30-point lead to everyone else right now. He can take the risk. He can go for the move. Even if he doesn't finish, it's not a major hit. But wouldn't you want to do that when you're assured that the championship is coming towards you? Maybe later on when you've been relieved of the pressure. Right now, it's risk. It's not the riskiest thing in the world, but it still has got quite a bit of risk attached to it. So if I was there, I probably wouldn't, maybe.
Yeah, maybe you just stay behind at this point to make sure that championship is secure. But you know, in the end, it is the decision of Yunho Park whether or not to just let Woojin Shin take P2 at this point, because the championship picture is the more pressing issue. You don't get prizes for race finish position here at this one. You only get the scholarship at the end of the season in the Junior Cup. So it's always a tough one to take, because you know those drivers, they're wanting to go and gain those positions, but sometimes you just have to take a breath and just say, okay, I'm happy here. Here is a safe place to be. Well, although I do doubt whether any point on that track is a safe place to be at the moment with the amount of lap traffic that's been going on. But for Junho Zhang, is this the final lap for him then? Because it's about 20 seconds left on the clock here. We are keeping an eye on that gap for P2 and 3, but that still stands at about 0.8 of a second, so I don't think that's going to change too much. So 10 seconds left on the clock then for Junho Zhang. Looks like this might be it, with 5 seconds coming through the final corner. Does the checkered flag drop? Yes, it does. So a new race winner here in the AMX Junior Cup. It is Junho Zhang winning at Limerock Park. Fantastic performance from the 17. Great qualifying up onto the front row. Great start that gifted him the race lead, and he simply did not look back.
What a drive from Junho Zhang. Even though he had a big issue midway through with lap traffic, he kept his composure, and that final gap is quite the admirable one. That right there is how you lead a race and finish it off from start to the end. Well, will anyone tell him that the race is done though?
Well, they do have to do a cool-down lap here, so...
It's like the fastest cool-down lap I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, here we go then, again across the line. Another cool-down lap, let's go. Maybe he was just trying to make sure that the race was completely done, because it was close at the very end there, so you can never be completely sure. So I don't blame him for going the extra lap, but that is everyone done here today. Well, that's something that we certainly weren't expecting coming into this one. New race winner in the AMX Esports Junior Cup. Let's take a look then at your unofficial race results. Junho Zhang P1 by around about 3 seconds over Woojin Shin. Woojin Shin still has to be happy with his performance today, especially that qualifying pace was absolutely incredible. Yunho Park P3 today. It's strange seeing him there, considering we're so used to him winning, but I don't think he'll be too hard done by still a podium finish today, considering the circumstances. Hee Jung-an with a decent finish up into P4 with Sung Young Kang P5, Jung-hyun Choi in P6, Hong So-jang in 7th with Jojun Choi in 8th, Yunho 9th, and Woo Jae-sung rounds out the top 10. Then the rundown to the final cars of our 18. Min-ya Kim, Jin-wook Choi, Seokyeon Nam, Kai-hoo Lee, Hae-sung Na, Jung-hyo Kim, and Tae-hyun Kim with Jung Bum-hong at the very back of the finishing order here today. Every single car finished, by the way. Yes, we did have cars visit the pit lane for various problems throughout the race, but everyone got themselves to the checkered flag, which is all you could really ask. Again, what a hectic event here at Limerock Park. We kind of knew it was going to be hectic going in, considering this track usually is pretty hectic with the racing that it puts on, especially with high-performance cars such as the Radical, but I don't think we expected it to be that hectic.
No, not one bit. Not one bit. You couldn't have expected that Yunho Park would be so low down. You couldn't have expected that all the guys at the top would keep their positions like they did. You couldn't have expected that Sung Young Kang nearly got taken out in the mid part due to a fault of his own. These are top drivers, top names who've had a mixture of performances. But on the whole, Connery, it presents us with new narratives in this championship now. No longer do we have just one driver capable of winning a race. Now we've got, I think, what, 3, 4 of them, I guess?
Yeah, it does seem to be around about that. But we'll have to see if this trend continues into those final couple of rounds, though, because Limerock Park is a little bit of an outlier, considering it is one of the first tracks that you get to practice on iRacing, and it's a short lap as well, so it's very simple to get to grips with it, no matter how much trouble me and you have. So, because it's just so few corners. If that continues on for these final couple of rounds of the season, I will certainly be an incredibly happy person. But we do have to head into our main championship now. The sim drivers take to the track once again. Of course, they use the BMW M8 GTE rather than the BMW M4 GT3s that the rest of the categories use. So there's a little bit of different racing, a little bit tougher because you have no ABS in these cars. So you do have to watch out for that one. So the assists are a little bit less. But this time, though, Bathurst. So a tricky car at a tricky track. Ooh.
I don't know what that middle sector is going to be like, Conry. I genuinely don't know how you actually drive a GTE car through there. But look at this one. For a change, we don't get to see the M4 for a few weeks because we've seen enough of that in the Spa 24 hours happening over the last couple of weeks on RaceSpotTV. But look at the M8. M8 has no ABS. M8, well, it has TC. It's not the best traction control in the world. It's still very much a driver's car, this one. But the middle sector at Bathurst is a place where you have barely any straight braking zones. It's all curved. It's all turning. It's all descending downhill or going uphill. And that part of the circuit, how do you control the car to properly make sure that the car is fine under the brakes? And it's good that this car and this combination of tracks has come up to the sim drivers who have the most experience of the entire lot on this platform. But even still, Conry, it genuinely is such a formidable challenge. Not the final sector, not the first sector, that middle sector, up the Mount Panorama Hill. It's scary.
Yeah.
I've got a few thoughts of bad accidents happening right there. Not that it'll hurt anybody in terms of physical damage, but mentally there might be some.
Might we see our first safety car on a road course?
Could be. I think it's a genuine chance.
That is a possibility here. Maybe not so much in the sprint race, because if we get a safety car period, even at the start of the sprint race, that'll give us like 3 minutes of racing at the very end after we get the safety car period done. But maybe if there's a big incident at the start of the feature race, for example, that could trigger a safety car. If it's a track blockage, it is in the rules that the stewards do have the right to throw a safety car in that situation. And this track more than any other, I think the other one that was where it was likely as well was Long Beach, but we got through Long Beach pretty fine. But this one...
Only just. Remember the accident that we had right there, the hairpin.
Only just. I will remove the fastest lap times because those shouldn't be showing up at this point while we're on our cameras. But yeah, it's like I said, it's Monaco on a mountain. Is what I like to
Spot
say.
on.
It's the trickiest track. I think this really lends itself to drivers like Yunho Park, for example, who will again be competing in this race as a sim driver. So coming straight from the radicals into the M8, a big change. But let's see how he gets on. Of course, got a couple of drives up and down the field that could potentially have a star performance here today, especially if they practice this track, practiced and just made sure that they can get through that mountain section fine. Because I think if you can do that, you're on for a pretty good result here, as long as you don't get caught up in someone else's instant who can't get through there.
To be fair, though, it's not just the mountain, and that's the beauty of Mount Panorama. The fact that if you're not the fastest one at the mountain, even if you're just a few tenths off right there, it is fine. Because on both the sides of the mountains, you've got two huge straights. They're so big, and if you just put the car in the right place and you get enough draft, you could be in a very good spot. So you don't need to be the fastest at the mountain. You don't need to be the most committed on the mountain. You just need to be right up there. Not the fastest, maybe just around a few tenths here and there, because if you're in that window, Conry, generally the draft can be such a propelling factor that you might just get your moves done at the right places.
Due to our accelerated schedule, we will have a very, very, very short break here, but don't go away, because in about 10 minutes' time, we have qualifying for the AMX ESPORTS in this one. So stick around, and we'll be back in just a handful of moments' time.
미쉐린, 미식의 길을 안내하다. Michelin, Motion for Life.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the AMX ESPORTS Championship here on RaceSpotTV. My name is Connery Maddock. I'm joined by the one, the only Sumil Aurora for this broadcast. We had a pretty enthralling affair at Limerock Park in the AMX ESPORTS Junior Cup, but now we head to the main event. The sim drivers will take themselves to what is a very tricky circuit here. Mount Panorama, Bathurst, as it is more well known. Of course, the most famous V8 supercars race and race circuit that there ever has been, of course, home to the Bathurst 1000 and, of course, the Bathurst 12 Hour as well. But, of course, you know, it's not going to be such long races here today, Sumil. It is going to be our typical format of the 15-minute sprint race into the 30-minute feature. But, my words, this has the potential to get pretty crazy pretty quickly.
Indeed, expect at least one safety car. I think there might just be. As I mentioned earlier on only a few minutes ago, that middle sector is such a tight place to be. And Connery, you put it better than me. You said it's Monaco on a hill. Literally is. That is the best way you can describe that middle sector here at Bathurst. And at Monaco, there is a chance of blockages. And here at Bathurst, you can expect the same as well, especially the braking, as I mentioned. Many parts of the circuit are uphill and downhill at the same time. Not at the same time, but you get the idea. Some parts are uphill on the braking, some parts are downhill on the braking. With the M8, where there's no ABS, how do you make sure that a car is properly fine when you attach a turn along with the downhill braking as well? That's just madness.
Yeah, it will be absolutely crazy here, and well, we hope the craziness is just toned down a little bit, because on a first lap here, we've already discussed before we went live for this portion of the broadcast. There is the potential for track blockages if there's an incident in the mountain, especially on the first lap. So that's the thing we have to be concerned about here, especially coming into the feature event where we'll have a reverse grid, so everyone's trying to desperately gain positions. There is a chance that we'll see our first safety car on a road course here. Of course, they are only used in exceptional circumstances, and a track blockage will be one of them. So watch out for that. If it does happen, we'll take you through it. It should work just as normally as it does on an oval, where they'll line up single file, they'll go a couple of laps, and we'll go back racing again, hopefully. But, of course, you know, drivers are hoping that doesn't happen. Drivers are hoping that they have a pretty clean race all the way to the end here. But, of course, it is the Sim Driver event today. And before we get ourselves to the qualifying coverage here, let's have a look at the provisional standings as they are at the moment. DCT E-Racing and DCT Racing leads the way today, coming into this round, but a little bit less of a points advantage than they were coming into the previous round, for example, because they had a bit of a worrying issue last round at, I believe it was Catalonia in the real life drivers.
It was, yeah. Yeah, no, that's so true. And DCD E-Racing all of a sudden have a big gap. Now, I've always wondered in this championship, when will we come to a part where DCD E-Racing or DCD Racing, either one of them, end up making an error? Because honestly, I thought that there would be a time that there would be one error coming in, and that could be the defining one between both these teams. They were really so consistent. There is just one moment when you lose your concentration, when you make that slight error, and it can come. It has come last time out at Catalonia. So now it is just all about for both of them being as consistent as they possibly can. And for DCT Racing right now, I think they need a lot more in this case, because right now they're in a situation where both of these teams are constantly very consistent. They will need a slip up and then more for them to regain the lead in the championship. Even though they've only lost a few points, the battle between both of them are so fierce, I don't think there's a very good chance for them to fight back unless some shenanigans happen at the top with the DCT E-Racing team.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Of course, drivers coming towards the end of their outlaps at this point. It is a very long outlap here at Bathurst, but should be enough time in the 10-minute qualifying session to be able to get at least a handful of laps in. So it shouldn't be an absolutely massive issue here. But again, we'll keep track of things. It is so easy to go wrong here at Bathurst, especially if you tap the wall. If you can get a 0x here, you still have that lap invalidated because of that 0x. So you just have to just sort of, at the same time, go quickly through that middle sector, but also tiptoe so you don't clip the wall by a millimeter.
Yeah, no, so true. Apart from the 0x as well, sometimes if you clip it just a little bit too much, as we ended up seeing on one race that I was commentating on RaceSpotTV earlier this year, one of the top drivers just clipped the wall slightly. Hell, 0x is okay, that's just one part of it because it was in the race. The driver eventually ended up with very, very broken car because there was that sort of a quick hit around this section of the circuit that you're watching right now as well. So that can be a factor as well. And very, very quickly, that driver ended up dropping down from P number 3 to P number 8 or 9 when they couldn't do a thing about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's Yunho Park. He's currently negotiating the top of the hill right now. This is through McPhillamy Park, that very fast left-hander gets close to the wall on the entry to Skyline as is feasibly possible, and now it's just apex after apex down the hill, managing the speed, making sure that you don't hit any of those walls on the left or the right-hand side, but getting close as you dare to them. This is what I mean by having Monaco on a hill. But now coming up through the Forest Elbow, the onslaught is over. You get yourself a bit of a break on the run down in towards the chase.
And can you imagine, Connery, they actually used to race, and they still do race, motorcycles over here. Can you imagine the danger of that middle sector only on 2 wheels? Now that's a bit too much for us right here on RaceSpotTV, so we prefer 4 wheels over 2, for now at least. But this is madness, seriously. That middle sector is so tight, and the concentration level you need over a 30-minute race to execute it correctly every single time, it's just beyond me.
So the lap time's around about 2 minutes around here. Let's have a look as Yunho Park comes across the line for the DCT Racing team. Let's see what the time is. A 1:59.9. That's a great lap there to start off with for Yunho Park. Puts him up into provisional pole position. Puts that DCT car, as someone goes off spinning in the background, puts that DCT E-Racing car up into pole. Young-Tak Lee is your second place driver at the moment for Team BTC. That's a great lap there from Young-Tak Lee to put that Team BTC car up there. But what you can see Young-Tak Lee just waiting for a space here. Remember though, he might get the attention for the stewards for that, because you do have to keep a minimum, I can't remember what it was in the rule book, but a minimum of 70% racing speed on a qualifying lap. You can't just stop there on circuit and wait for everyone to go by.
Yeah, exactly. That was not helpful. But on the whole thing, on the entire championship front, Team BTC have been fastly rising, Connery. They were, I think, P number 3, weren't they, in the last round at Catalonia in one of the races right there. And I was generally impressed by how composed they were in terms of keeping their positions, and had such an amazing fight with the Team DCT Racing car towards the very end of that final race right there. Right now, it's a big chance for them. It's a big opportunity to go back once again and remind everyone that that wasn't just a Catalonia one-off. They can come back and they can do it. And if they can prove it at Mount Panorama, I think one of the best drivers circuits on the calendar so far. Again, same represented in the junior category as well with Limerock Park. It'll be an even bigger statement that they can not just do it at Catalonia, but also at a circuit that's completely different in the form of Mount Panorama.
So here's Hee Jung-an with the number 13 DCT car, which has been the very much unlucky 13 in the season so far. Every single time they've been in a position to score some very good points, something has happened to them in regards to a self-spin or a bit of contact. It happened again at Catalonia at the start of the main race. It was absolutely awful. But up into P11 to start this sprint race for Hee Jung-an. Not a terrible place to be, but you know, that's speaking from a normal track perspective. I doubt you'd really want to start mid-pack here, though.
Well, mid-pack right here is just... Well, mid-pack right here, well, what is it like? It's like being in the middle of a flock of horses facing the wrong way around. A flock of running camels. Apparently, it's very dangerous, and that's what it's like in the midfield right here at Bathurst, where things get so tight, so chaotic. Then, I think the best thing is that run down to turn number 2, Conway. In the midfield, it's going to be so crazy. Heading towards Griffin Bend, I think it will just blow your mind to see so many cars getting the draft right there. And just keeping your calm on this very run down to Griffin's Bend when you're going easily above 200 kph is just madness when you've got 2 or 3 cars right next to you all the time.
So you can see Jae-Hyuk Lim from the Atlas BX car just steaming by through on a couple of cars there, and of course Atlas BX with their more recent livery. Of course, they start the season being more of a silver chromed out car, but now they're in that yellow and with the orange trim. It looks fantastic indeed. Does that number 9 car. But having a look through this very tricky section, though, let's see how Jae-Hyuk Lim negotiates it as he starts to climb up the hill towards the very top of the mountain, out towards the fastest section here, the McPhillamy Park, in just a couple of moments' time. Careful about the wall on the outside there. Again, if you get a 0x, it does mean your lap's invalidated. That's what you get if you have a minor contact with the wall. Down through Skyline, make sure it's neat and tidy through here. Again, can't afford to clip the wall. Even if you get a little bit of netcode with the wall, it is still going to invalidate your lap. And it's not going to help in qualifying. But now it looks like Jae-Hyuk Lim got through there relatively tidy. Now, what he needs is about 0.3 of a second advantage to try and get up into pole position over Yunho Park.
And how can he do that? We've only got a couple of corners coming in, and those couple of corners, well, the margin for error there is low, but I doubt you can actually gain 0.3 of a second right there. That fast right-hander and then braking hard for this one for the Dipper. This is going to be a tough one. Coming towards the Forest Elbow, your braking marker right here can be so tricky. For the Murray's corner, I'm sorry. And just got to nail it perfectly. It's a standard 90-degree left-hand corner in a circuit where there's so many crazy ones. It's just an outlier in a way.
Not a great lap, though, from Jae-Hyuk Lim. It is a 2-minute 2:37, which is his fastest lap, don't get me wrong. It's still nowhere near Yunho Park, though. He's still 0.3 of a second faster than everyone else. And what were we saying during the Junior Cup? Yunho Park usually about 0.3 of a second ahead of everyone else. Yeah. Well, he's done exactly that here today as he heads his way across the line for yet another lap here. And, well, he's the only driver right now that has dipped below 2 minutes in terms of lap time.
What a man, Yunho Park. Seriously, I think it was not his pace that was the major problem in the AMX Junior Cup. I think it was just that he took it easy in terms of preparation right there, to focus more on this big round, because remember, if DCT E-Racing get a mega result right here, they build an even bigger gap than they already have over DCT Racing and DCT Esports in the championship, which is all that they need right now. Now that DCT Racing has slipped up, they just need to pounce on it and secure the championship for them. And Yunho Park is the best person to do that for them.
Well, there we go. That is the qualifying session done. Our grid is set for the sprint race here at Bathurst. I can't wait for it. It's going to be crazy, I get the feeling. But let's have a look at how they line up. It is Yunho Park for DCT E-Racing starting P1. 0.3 of a second over the Atlas BX Esports team's Jae-Hyuk Lim. Then you have Junie Kim in P3 for Atlas BX. So Atlas BX can really pile on the pressure onto that DCT car here today. Team BTC with a great qualifying for Yuntak Lee up into P4. Redcon Motorsports and 2Run also having very good laps here today with Jojun Choi and Suni Hong as well. Where is a DCT racing car? That is down in P9, so that's P2 in the championship. Only 9th on the starting grid here today. E-Euro and also DR Motorsports are ahead of them. Midas Racing inside the top 10 to start. Fantastic stuff for Jin Han Lee. One Racing, our new team to the championship. They start in 11th with Hee Jung An. DCT Esports is number 13 car in 12th today. Jong Pil Jung for Solar Indigo Performance P13. Quadro Iran Racing Team 14th. Solar Indigo Racing in 15th. Team PS31 16th. Han Sung Lee in 17th and Dong Jin Kim in 18th today for DR Mighty, and then Grit Motorsports' Hong So-jan in P19 of your 19 car starting grid. So let's have a look then at, well, how things will start here, because they of course will do our typical abbreviated pace lap, as we can see them lining up on the way down towards the chase there. Not too long before we get this race started, but it's all going to be about that first lap, I get the feeling, Sumo.
It is all going to be about that first lap, Connery. All about what you can do with the draft on the mountain straight. How many positions can you gain up on the Griffin Bend? If anything, I don't think you want to be Yunho Park right now, because you're going to be so vulnerable on the first lap. Once anyone gets past, it's all on your driver's skill to close up and then use the draft to make a move. So at lap number 1, Yunho Park is just in the wrong place to be in. Not that it's a bad thing to be in pole position, it just makes your life, I think, 2 times harder if you're right there, the first person on the grid right now. Who knows, maybe J-Hook could be the driver that benefits the most, using the draft and then the side draft to get past at Griffin's Bend, because if he can do that, he can hold everyone up in the middle sector, and that is all that he needs.
It is all that he needs to do, as cars will start to roll off then on the way down in towards the chase for what is a very, very tricky lap of Bathurst here. We cannot overstate it enough. It is so difficult for even an experienced driver to get around here in one piece. These guys, well, rather a large amount of these guys are definitely very experienced, but do they have the racecraft required to race here at Bathurst? Well, we're just a couple of moments away from finding out. Yunho Park will lead them through the final corner, waiting for that green flag to show. We are racing here at Bathurst in the AMX ESPORTS Championship Sim Driver event. Oh, someone's gone off behind. Hang So Jang has gone off behind, but Yunho Park has lost the race lead in towards turn number 1 as J-Hook gets himself up into P1. There's another spinner at the very back, but DCTE Racing losing out in the early portions, and it looks like the Atlas BX car's already gotten a decent gap.
It's a smart decision executed poorly right there by Yunho Park. It would be smart to let anyone go past into turn number 1 so that you can use the draft to make the move here. Except the only difference, Yunho Park let him go by a bit too much, and J-Hook is just enjoying with the lead right now.
Yep, he is on towards the mountain for the first time in this event. Doesn't seem to be any problems at the moment as they all try to negotiate their way through here. I think some drivers are taking this a little bit more conservatively than they would usually do on a qualifying lap, for example, just to make sure they can get this first trip up the mountain done in a pretty comfortable manner instead of having a big incident. I'm seeing no incidents so far. Oh, Untitled going very wide through McPhillamy Park in that Team BTC car, but he just about holds on as they start the descent then down through Skyline, clipping those apexes, and well, looks like everyone's still very clean. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, apart from those first few accidents that we saw right there, everyone seemingly is turning out to be okay. But I'm very impressed by Yunho Park and his comeback right now. Outside line, Connery, this could be his chance.
Here we go. Drag race down the back straight then on the way in towards the chase, and J-Hook Lim just has no option but to slide in behind. Gives him the flash of the lights though, as these two tried to pull away from the rest of them. There was a battle between Chi-Young Park and Jojun Choi, as that is still continuing on there for battle for P6, 7, 8, 9. Also involved in that is that Redcon Motorsports does lose the position to the number 11. They might even lose the position to the 999 then, as Mingyu Song looks to the outside through the final corner, but of course not really an opportunity, that one.
And this is a good one by Yunho Park. The fact that he's got the move done early on and has built a bit of a gap before we come down to the mountain straight is the one thing he has done correctly this time out. The one thing he missed out on doing the last time out was just that. So Yunho Park has got a good gap right here, but now Chi-Young Park being attacked. Chi-Young cannot lose this position. He needs a good result towards the 12 car. This is not helping right now.
Yeah, so Junwon looking to the outside, can't get anything done into there. Just, again, continues to stay behind at this point, and you kind of have to stay behind for almost the entirety of the mountain section here. Of course, you do have optimistic times sometimes down the inside here and there, but there is not a lot of room here. You do not want to be running too wide through this section, otherwise you're just going to, well, either risk an incident or you're going to have you're going to be losing so much time to those cars behind trying to chase you down. So it's in everyone's best interests to get single file through there and then look for the main opportunity, which it will be coming off of the forest elbow and using that slipstream down the straight.
But it's still not predictable enough, Connery. That's the fun part. Now, many might think that there's only 2 real overtaking opportunities at Bathurst, maybe 3 on the long shot if you consider turn number 1 held corner. But to be honest, even though we might just have only a handful of chances, the fact that the draft is a major factor right here makes it a bit crazy, as the one racing car has crashed and the 2-run one has no place to go. There's a blockage.
There's a little bit of a blockage. I don't think there's anyone behind this. Hongso. Oh, Hongso's comes up on it. Oh, and hurts the one racing car on it. They're going to have to request a tow there, because there's no way they're going to be able to get that car back unless someone comes around and helps them back onto their wheels. But so that's going to be a tow, and as a result, they'll have to DNF from this one. I think that might be the rule, unless there's a permission given by the stewards to take the tow. But Yunho Park, setting the fastest lap of anyone. He is trying to pull away at the very front of the field, is having some success at doing so as well. He's got about 1.5 seconds to J-Hook now, so I think J-Hook's opportunity is gone now as far as the race is concerned. Yellow flag, safety car.
Oh, so here we have it. We expected one safety car, the first safety car in this entire championship on the road courses, and there we are. Wow, now this changes things up, Connery. Now Yunho has to do it all over again, and if anything, Jojun Park might be in a good position, because now the 11 can fight back. Now the 11 does not have this major gap to the 77 and the 24. So here, maybe DCD Racing can close up their deficit.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this one works, because with 10 minutes remaining, I don't know how much time that will actually give us to finish this race. I'll be honest. So we will see how this one works out. Of course, Yunho Park does have to continue on as best he can to try and catch the safety car. We'll check where the pace car is. In fact, I can potentially do that. There it is. Still hasn't come down on towards the pit, come off the pit lane just yet. It is waiting for Yunho Park.
Exactly. And you're right. How many minutes does it leave for all the other drivers after this period ends? And what can they do in that time frame? But I'll be honest though, if anything, the pressure is on Youngjae Lee right now, because with the gap closing up, he essentially closes up 3 seconds worth of gaps with the safety car coming in, and this could present his chance to get up into reverse grid pole position by passing Mingyu Song. Just one position there, and the gaps will be cut down by the safety car. It's a real good chance, you know.
Yeah, it is. So this is an AMX ESPORTS Championship first safety car in the road course. Due to the track blockage situation at the end of the mountain section. So that's what's happened there. Pace car pulling off of pit lane will pick up Yunho Park now. So let's see, pacing speed is about 60 miles an hour here. So convert that into kilometers however which way you wish. But I don't know how long we'll be under pacing conditions now, because again, we don't have a lot of time before the end of this race. So it might become a situation where we actually only get 1 lap to race.
Oh, true. Could be very well. And if anything, I want to see that. I want to see just a 1-lap shootout towards the very end, because at Bathurst, a 1-lap shootout means a draft fest, a proper pandemonium of a lap, where we see cars diving down the inside right here at the Griffin's Bend, or maybe later as well when we come towards the chase. And imagine what kind of racing we can see right there when everyone has the hurry up message from themselves. This could well be very chaotic, but a very fun sort of chaos in a way.
Yeah, maybe. So let's have a look then. So current order is Yunho Park, then it's J-Hook Lim, Junhee Kim, Young Tak Lee for Team BTC in 4th, Young Min Lee in 5th, Park Ji-young in 6th, as they all follow the safety car coming up the hill here. But yeah, we will consider whether, you know, because there might also, you know, if the time isn't there, then we might also even end under the safety car, which is certainly what we don't want to do. But we will keep track of the time here. That's left remaining in the event to make sure that we can actually get ourselves at least 1 green flag lap in here. But let's have a look then, as we will continue to watch this one cycle through. But I think Yunho Park's going to be one that's kicking himself at the moment because it's like, oh, I'm gaining in this gap. I'm fine for the race lead right now. But all of a sudden, it's all bunched up again. I mean, we were talking about this during the break with endurance races, weren't we, Sumo?
Yeah. Exactly that one. So what do you do in this situation? How do you keep your cool, especially when you consider that Yunho Park has only got P3 and not his usual P1 in the early junior race right now? And this is a very hard place to be in, Connery, for Yunho Park. We saw him make an error at the start of this race where he let Jae-hyuk Lim go past, but he let him go past by a bit too much, so he could not quite be there in the draft range and seal up his position at the Griffin's Bend. Yeah, he was good enough to get it back right there on the exit of the chase, but this is one error he can't afford making this time. Opportunities will be very limited. Time will be very limited. Yunho Park just has to keep the car up ahead at Griffin's Bend, regardless of whatever he does, whether he drops down to P3, whether he keeps P1, and just blocks off everyone with the draft. This is just going to be a very hard start for him, but you can't overthink it. That's the one thing with racing.
Okay, so yeah, we will have to wait and see. But yeah, we will we will see. We will see. Like that's all I'm saying. We will see. But 5 minutes left to go. Well, 5.5 minutes left to go in the session. We are just about coming to the end of the. Well, it's technically the first lap of pacing here, so we'll get to see with the lights on top of the pace car how many laps that we actually get to run here. Again, it's a situation we haven't had before here in the AMX ESPORTS Championship, so you can forgive our confusion a little bit here. Race control do assure us that we'll get at least one green flag lap here. So at least there's that little bit of confidence that has been injected into my veins.
And it could be one or maybe two. We will wait and see.
Lights out.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're gonna get one lap in the end. Oh my god, this is just gonna be mad, Connery. Oh, this could be one of the wildest Bathurst laps you see, because now there's a bit of a weird situation. You might not see drivers around P5, P6 challenge because they're fine where they are. They get a very good position on for the next reverse grid race coming up later on. But the top four, Connery, they need more points. They are going to be gunning for everything. So expect to fight only within them. From P5 onwards down to P number 8, there's not going to be much. But as I say that, expect the likes of Young Jae Lee, Jongpil Jung, Han Sung Lee, expect them to go bonkers, because if any one of them can make it in the P8, they don't just gain 2 or 3 odd positions, they gain 8 odd positions. They go right up to pole position for the start of the next one, and that could be such a big gain for any of those midfield teams out there.
Yeah, it could be such a big opportunity. We'll continue to watch this one through. Lights are out on the pace car, so that would signify, under normal circumstances, that we will have one more lap to go, at least under the safety car, and then we'll be back racing in just a couple of moments. But yeah, I guess it wouldn't be some of the broadcasts here if we didn't have a situation which we hadn't dealt with. At least in this series before. Of course, we've had safety cars in the series before, that's not a problem. But one this close to the end of the race might be a point of contention. But Yunho Park just making sure he's in the right frame of mind right now, making sure his tyres haven't cooled down, and making sure that they're in the right operating window. So this is the thing here, behind the safety car, a lot of the driver's tyres will be cooling down at this point.
All he needs to do and all he can do right now, just being in the right frame of mind as a driver. Because Conor, if you overthink it, if you worry too much about the drivers coming in from the background, you may not be able to concentrate properly when the moment actually arrives. And at Bathurst, it's all about those fine margins with the wall, fine margins with how you manage the draft when people are coming around you, with how you brake with this M8 with no ABS on these hilly mountainous sections. It's all about the margins, and if you're not in the right frame of mind, you will see a major accident. And I hope I don't see that. You will see a few drivers going very aggressive right here.
Yeah, we will. So 2 minutes left remaining in the race. So if the pace car doesn't pull down onto the pit lane this time, we think we still insist it probably will, because pace car lights are out, so that's the signal that the pace car will be on its way down on towards the pit lane on the next lap. But of course, the reason that we had this safety car in the first place was that we had a track blockage at the end of the mountain section. So if the guys had their incident a few meters further down the road, then we would have been fine in this situation. But given that it wasn't that situation, we did have a track blockage. The race control had no other option but to put the race under the safety car here. So we are coming towards the very end of the lap right now, at least this pacing lap. So hopefully that pace car will make its way down on towards the pit lane, and then we'll get one lap of racing. It's a one-lap shootout potentially here, Sumil. That is a little scary if you're Yunho Park. Let's ride on board with him as we'll hopefully see that pace car dive its way down and in. But this has to be one of the most nervous portions of the event if you're one of these drivers at the moment. It is absolutely crazy. And there we go, pace car down on towards the pit lane. One lap shootout in the sprint race of the AMX Esports Championship. Yunho Park will lead them to the green flag. Jae-Hyuk Lim in tow, Junie Kim in third place. One lap to do it all here at Bathurst in the sprint race, and it looks like moves are already being made a little bit deeper in the pack as the Team BTC car tries to gain third place away, stays in fourth, and now it's that big long run down in towards the Griffin's Bend for this final lap now. Under the green flag, Yunho Park leads by half a second. He got himself an amazing start, but it's a big scrap for third place between Junie Kim, Yoon-Tak Lee, Young Min Lee, as the Team BTC car tries to go the long way around, but they've completely overdone it. They grazed the wall on the outside as they fought back in line single file.
It just probably could end up being the best error they've made so far, because it gains them another position in the reverse grid race coming up right there. Not a bad one, all things considered. They tried, they failed, but there could be another chance coming on the way if you are Young Min Lee, because Junwee Kim has one long straight to contend with after the mountains, the Conrod straight, on the run down to the chase. We could just see another big one for P number 3, Conrad.
We could. There's the battle for thirds. Junie Kim, Young Min Lee, Yoon-Tak Lee. Let's see who out of these three comes up on the third step of the podium in the sprint race. Remember, we do have to be concerned about who finishes in P8 as well, because that is reverse grid pole position. Currently, that's going the way of Jojun Choi in the number 46 car, but that can all change. Now, onto the back straight for the final time. Junie Kim looking for, looking to try and defend the position. Young Min Lee has the slipstream coming up the hill then towards the chase as Young Min Lee goes to the outside for the kink. Let's see if he's able to complete the move for P3, swinging it around there. Make sure you get yourself on the brakes for the left-hander as Jojun Kim comes back at him through the chase, but I think Young Min Lee's got this. He got the speed off the corner. Yoon-Tak Lee looking for an opportunity as well, but he's not able to get anything done here in this situation. Battle further behind though. Park Chi-young looking to get in a position late on for DCT. It's a sprint race to the line between those two. I don't know who's come out on top there, but I do know who's come out on top in the race. It is Yunho Park winning the sprint.
What a commanding drive by Yunho Park at the end to keep his cool. And what about his teammate? What about Chi-young Park? That could have been so close. And the risk was taken, but they couldn't quite get P number 6. But hey, not too bad, all things considered. They get, I think, P number 3 in reverse grids.
Yeah, absolutely. So who's got themselves reverse grid pole? It did change at the very end there, by the way. Yeah. It is Young Jae Lee that's got themselves reverse grid pole position. So Quadrone E-Rain Racing Team will start P1 in the main event. What an opportunity for them.
This is going to be big. This is going to be big for Quadro E-Rain. In the championship so far, Quadro E-Rain have been here and there. This one can be a big chance for them. And for the E-Rain Racing Team, they've been P8, they've been close to E-Euro. This one could potentially put them very close to P number 6 in the Solar Indigo, for that matter.
Yeah, so lots of things to pay attention to at the end of this one. What a climactic finish, though. We didn't expect the safety car for one, and it made us have a one-lap shootout. which is certainly an interesting way to end these races. So as these drivers are on their cool-down lap, let's have a look at the unofficial results here at the end of the sprint event. So let's have a look. Yunho Park wins by 0.8 of a second over Jae-Hyuk Lim. But the thing is, Yunho Park, bad end of the reverse grid now. He'll start in P8 for the main race. Jae-Hyuk Lim seconds. Youngmin Lee for E-Euro in third. Great stuff for E-Euro to get that position. Junhee Kim in P4 for Atlas BX E-Racing team as well. Good sprint race for Atlas BX, to be fair. P2, P4 for them. Team BTC, solid top 5 finish. Chi-Young Park for DCT Racing, or DCT Racing, excuse me, in 6th place. Mingyu Song in 7th. Young Jae Lee in 8th. Jung Pil Jung in 9th. And Hang Sung Lee in the 10th spot. And then you have a look at the bottom half of the grid. Jojun Choi, Jae Hak Lee, Dongjin Kim, Suni Hong, which was the two-run car that was involved in the incident that put the race under the safety car. Same with Hong So Jang as well. He came hot into that one. Hee Jung An for DCT Esports, though. That is not great again for the 13 DCT car. It seems like it's the punching bag of the entire field here. One Racing, again, another car involved in that incident that brought out the safety car. Midas Racing, after a decent qualifying up into P10, they unfortunately had an issue and now fall back into 18th. So like Indigo Racing, Dookie Lee, they were one of the first cars to have an incident coming to the initial start. They will finish in 19th and they will line up in 19th for the main event. So that's the recap there of the sprint race, and we still have one more to come here, Sumil.
Oh, yes, we have. And the stakes are going to be even bigger for that one, Conry, if anything. So, right now we saw a few drivers holding back in the hope of getting reverse grid pole position and getting good results right there for this particular race. I think some drivers really holding a little bit behind there, Conry. But now the gloves will be off. Now there's no holding back. Now there's no worries about, oh, but where will I qualify for the next one? It's just about getting as many points as you possibly can. And I'm very intrigued. I'm very intrigued by the 11 car, the DCT Racing team, because for them, this presents a unique chance. They're ahead of their teammates in the 12th car, in the qualifying lineup. Now, even if they win, they will be only cutting down some points to their teammates right now. So they need a slip up from their teammates. But wish something like that on a team running the same car name as yours. I don't think that will. Ever.
I think this potentially might be the more interesting start of today, considering the reverse grid. So, we have drivers, of course, that will, the intention of the reverse grid is to put drivers out of position, and that's what we have at this stage. So we have the, a bit more of an interesting fight at the very front for potential race win, but that does cause an issue on a first lap here. So we might even see our second ever safety car in a road course of the AMX Esports Championship, maybe in the early goings this time.
But Conry, now one thing I have to point out, in the last few reverse grid starts that we've had so far, it's something very weird. It's not taking DCT Racing any time at all to gain back the positions they would lose with the reverse grid. And there's a very clear reason for that. Someone or the other just wrecks all the time. Something happens and the DCT cars just quietly making their way. So I think even in Catalonia, where they got pushed down a P7 or P8, something like that, within a matter of half a lap, they were up there. They were up there in the top 3, all their cars. So this will not be a major factor unless some chaos happens. And at Bathurst, you always see somewhere on the edge, right?
Yeah, DCT are masters of chaos, I think. It's probably the best way to describe them. They see everything happening ahead of them, apart from if you're in the 13 DCT car, which is the... I don't know what the opposite of a Master of Chaos is, but...
Master of being a part of chaos, maybe.
Is the chaos. But the other two, it seems like their wreck avoidance is very, very good. And that comes part and parcel with a lot of experience, which, they do have very experienced drivers in Korean sim racing behind the wheel. So I can understand that aspect. So they know when to push, they know when to back off of things. And that really helps them in... If, for example, first lap of a main race like this, where we have that reverse grid, just to keep themselves out of trouble. Because like you said, they had major problems at Catalonia, but they were still able to recover something. They're always there. They're always pushing for that recovery drive if something happens to them. And it's so easy in that situation to have an incident where, you're basically out of the race, and you start to get deflated about it. Even if your car's still running okay, you're not quite as quick psychologically as you otherwise would be. But that's not the case of the DCT guys. They just go, okay, what can we do from here? what can we do? What sort of position can we get from this point forward? And they always go chasing for that. They always keep their heads up, and that's such a big psychological advantage for them.
So true. It's something that the great Australian cricket team of the early 2000s was always speaking about. Whenever they had any player going into any franchise cricket league, they brought in the mentality of, right, this has happened, what can we make of it from now? That's often missing in teams that are not used to winning. And remember, winning is a habit. Winning is a habit that DCT Racing and DCT Racing have gotten used to, which is why whenever they're down, they always end up thinking of this very thing. Right, here we are. What do we do from here? What can we make of from the situation? And at Mount Panorama, can be hard to do that, to be honest with you. But again, never say never.
Yeah, well, that was the wrong starting grid. That's the right starting grid, as we'll get ourselves Youngjae Lee up into pole position. Then, as a result of the reverse grid, Mingyu Sung will join him on the front row. So it's Quadro Euro Racing Team and Ulsan DR Motorsports on the front row today. It's Chi-Young Park in third place for DCT Racing. Then Team BTC's Young Tak Lee. Watch out for that guy on the outside of row 2, because Young Tak Lee was pretty strong in that initial race. He just got cycled back a little bit. So let's see what he's able to do from P4. Junhui Kim in Atlas BX E-Racing Team, 5th place. Youngmin Lee for E-Euro in 6th. And then you have your front runners from last race, Jae-Hyuk Lim and Yunho Park. They'll start P7 and P8 here for this reverse grid event. Jung Pil Jung missing out on reverse grid pole position in the Solar Indigo Performance Car. Then you have Hang Sung Lee for Team PSR in 10th. Junwon Choi for Redcon in 11th with Team PS31's Jae-Hak Lee in P12. And then cycling back towards the rear end of the field, Dongjin Kim in the DR Mighty Car in 13th with Suni Hong in the 2-run machine. That is 14th place for them. Grit Motorsports' Hong So-jang in 15th with DCT Esports' Hee Jung-an in 16th. Jin Han Lee and Jae Han Lee round out the 17th and 18th spot for Midas and One Racing. And then the driver that's bringing up the rear of the grid, that is Dookie Lee in the Soleil Indigo Racing Car. Only onwards and upwards for the number 97 here in this one. Let's see how far they can climb, as long as they keep themselves out of trouble. So, drivers already forming themselves up on the starting grid here, and well, we're just about 25 seconds from getting rolling here, Sumil. I think if the sprint race was anything to go by, I think there's going to be that amplified by 10 in this.
Yep, 100%. Mount Panorama could just turn out to be Mount Chaos in the first couple of laps, but in the middle is where I'm very keen, because that is where the drafting pack split up. That is where you can see drivers swerving around, trying to make sure that the other one doesn't have the draft, which is the kind of racing that really gets us on the edge, right? Makes you wonder, oh my God, is he actually going to do it? And that is what we're looking for from this race, and that is what we could get from this race. And when you mix in reverse grids, that just switches up the order even more. So expect for some heroic defending, and I'm very keen to see what Team BTC can do, Conrad. So many good results in that mid-pack in the last 3 odd races. This is another chance to keep on building on that.
Another fantastic chance as they head their way through the chase then on the formation lap of the feature event. 30 minutes of racing with a top 8 reverse grid. Youngjae Lee, pole position. Mingyu Song, 2nd place. Can they get off to a good start here and try and pull a gap on the rest of the field? Because it might be a little bit chaotic there. Back in the mid-pack towards the bottom end of the top 10. Through the final corner, green flag here at the AMX Esports Championship. Youngjae Lee getting a very good launch there from 2nd on the starting grid. He leads down in towards turn number 1. Is this Jin Han Lee? Oh, someone's had an issue. That is Jin Han Lee having a big problem before even the start.
I think he must have got a bit too much on the throttle on the exit of that final corner. So he's not in a good position. But look at this one. Ulsan Dia with the send.
Yeah, here comes Ulsan DR from 2nd place in the starting grid, looking to get up into 1st. I don't think they've done it through the right-hander. Brilliant move from Mingyu Song to put that car up into the pointy end of the field. Now it's Park Chi-Young in the DCT car that's able to squeeze by Chi-Young Park. So Chi-Young Park losing to, Youngjae Lee, losing 2 positions inside the first lap here. That's a nightmare.
What?
And there's a nightmare behind as well. Team BTC are in the wall. They keep going. No track blockage. We're still green.
How did that happen? How did that happen? Is that some sort of technical error? Because you don't normally swerve to the right like that one. We shall see later on, but right now they could well be swamped by everyone behind them. And look at the number of positions they've lost already. Team BTC down a few positions. I think that was 3 cars getting past them in a matter of moments.
Let's pull up the order on the left-hand side of your screen then. Mingyu Song, what a performance. What a start from the 999 car. The Ulsan DR Motorsports machine up into first place, and now Mingyu Song, all that he has to do is run for the hills, try and put a gap on Cheong Park here, and make sure he has that buffer just in case the front runners are able to get through quickly on the rest of the field. Yunho Park, by the way, challenging for P5 already, and he's up into P5, so that's your race winner from last time, from 8th to 5th in the first lap.
And simultaneously, Jojun Choi also coming up with a few positions. So Atlas BX are gaining as well. So it's not the DCT drivers only who are doing the good work. Atlas BX trying for something well as well.
Oh, someone
what's
in.
happening here?
Why is
77.
why is
no.
Lee coming down in? Did he jump the start? Did he have a start issue?
Must have hit the wall.
Another car.
Must have hit the wall, Connery. His car looks slightly bent.
Oh, yeah. Ouch. That's not going to help at all. Meanwhile, back towards the very front of the field, Park Ji-young has really caught up the gap here. He'll look to the inside, coming down the hill, down the gradient, in towards Griffin's Bend. And now let's have a look to see if the 11 can get through to the race leader. Yes, he can. Doesn't overcook the corner either. So new race leader, the 11 DCT racing car up into P1, and this is a little bit interesting in terms of the championship. No, Park Ji-young overcut the corner a little bit, flash of the lights and frustration from Mingyu.
Oh my god, this battle is not over yet. I was about to say that Ji-young Park just has to build his gap in this middle sector to make sure that the race is his, but that is not going to happen with that error right now. In the back as well, Junwei Kim and Jun Young Jae Lee are getting closer right now. This is not going to die down very easily. This battle will continue on for a long time, and at the chase you could well see a pass for the lead. Queue up for it.
You can see Mingyu Sung, he's got to be careful about that light flashing, because overdoing it on the lights is actually a penalizable offense. You'll get a warning at first. They won't penalize you straight away for overuse to the flashing, but Mingyu Sung does have to be careful about that, otherwise he'll draw the attention of the stewards. Having a look behind though, tight 3-car train, or well, the 3 cars at the very front of this, shall we say. They are battling for P3. Young Jae Lee, Junwei Kim, and Yunho Park. Let's see if Yunho Park can squeeze his way through on the 2 ahead. This is crucial for his championship. He is competing with his teammate that is leading the race at the moment for the championship. There's only 12 points in it at the very front of the standings. So DCT E-Racing above DCT Racing at the moment. That's not a guarantee after this one though.
That could be very, very true. Yunho Park is slowly and steadily coming up together. And this is the opportunity that Yunho will be looking for. You could very well see at the end of the mountain straight, Yunho doing a double. He's already got 1 car in the back with the draft right here. Can he get 2 in a row, Connery?
Let's see. Drafting by 1. Looks like, whoa, we're going to see 3 wide into the left-right-hander. That's certainly not going to work, as Yunho Park continues to try and carry the momentum around the outside, but still not able to do it. Battle behind between the Team BTC and the Atlas BX car, though. That's Young Tak Lee and Jae-Hyuk Lim. But everything's a little bit congested back here, I get the feeling. It is allowing the front couple of cars just to get away just that little bit more.
Good thing right there. Good thing that they're all keeping close to each other. And this is what Yunho Park needs right now. But not just about Yunho Park, right? Think about Young Tak Lee right now. What if they're able to keep behind Yunho Park? They'll be doing a big favor to the 11 car, by the way, their own teammates. But for Atlas BX as well, Connery, they separately are fighting a battle with DCT. But it is a far-fetched one, yes. But staying ahead in a race like this one will give them such a big confidence booster heading towards the last, what is it, last 8 rounds of the championship now.
Yeah. This championship has come, well, the rounds have come by quite quickly, haven't they? You do really enjoy things, you know, things do seem to go faster when you're having fun. Yunho Park looking to have a little bit of fun here as he looks to try and get the pass done over Junwei Kim for P4. Down in towards the chase. Commitment on the brakes required but Johnny Kim takes the wide line, carries the momentum, keeps himself ahead. This is a good performance right now, defensive performance from Johnny Kim to keep the championship leader behind him.
Good stuff right now. This is exactly what you want to see from Junwee Kim in this situation. Again blocking off the line, again doing something smart, but I think Yunho is not close enough to get that move done in. But leave Yunho for a second. I know we focus too much on him and it's hard to do that, but even behind Yunho Park, Youngtak Lee after that early skirmish has also come up closer.
Yep, he has. So let's have a look then. Oh, Yunho Park almost out into the grass there.
Crazy.
Looking to the outside this time. Has attempted this move many times. Does he get it complete this time? He's given it a good go, isn't he? Johnny Kim still trying to fight it out, but he's, well, just surrendered the position now. Yunho Park with the forceful move around the outside. All clean, of course, all good racecraft. It's just Yunho Park decided, I want to make a statement, I want to get through. And, well, it's on you not to have an incident with me.
This guy is very good, Connery. This guy really is very good. I want to see how he stacks up when we bring him up towards the more Western sim racing and esports competitions, when we have more of the normal race, not normal racing leagues, I mean, more of the popular racing leagues on the global scale. I'm going to be very intrigued about where he ranks, because so far he's been mighty impressive. And what you saw there was smart racecraft. He knew that it was worthy enough to take a risk on the outside line, which he normally shouldn't try, and that was well calculated. But okay, that's Yunho Park done. Now let's focus on Atlas BX and Jaehook Lim. We're riding on board with him right now, and just watch how much closer this M8 gets towards the very end. Watch how much the draft affects. It's actually not that much.
Well, I think that's because Youngtak Lee had a bit of a draft of the driver ahead of him as well. So Youngtak Lee in the Team BTC car looking to try and get past Johnny Kim now on the way into the chase. They got so close through the kink, didn't they? That's incredible. But the Atlas BX car stays ahead for now. Team BTC looking for the line coming off the corner. Jaehook Lim also looking maybe for an opportunity to try and squeeze his way through as well. Team BTC around the outside at the final corner has overdone it. And that's Atlas BX through on the inside. So it's now two Atlas BX cars at the front of the trio. Jaehook Lim capitalizing on that one.
It's funny, we tried to make a move. Yunho Park up to third as well. And I think Yunho Park is turning out to be the only driver who doesn't have to think twice about making a move, because for all the others, if it doesn't work, you end up losing another position instead of gaining of one.
Oh,
swerve.
Change of the line into the right-hander. There's contact. Mingyu Song in the wall. In the 999 car. Your championship leader turns the second place driver. Now, Yunho Park has to be careful about Stewart's action and penalty.
And Connery, 2 in a row. Similar situation happened early on in the Junior Cup as well. I'm going to take it as a commentator's curse when I was blaming him when I was praising him too much.
Youngtak Lee parked on the mountain section. I wonder if this will deploy a safety car. We'll have to see. Is that car stable and going? Well, he takes the tow back to pit lane. Let's see if that affects anything here. 20 minutes to go left in this one. Still way more the... Well, we just got a quarter of the race done. Well, excuse me, not a quarter of the race done. A third of the race done. I'm good at mathematics, I do promise you. Did a module of it in uni. But 20 minutes left to go. No safety car from that one. So that changes the complexion of the race a little bit here. Yunho Park will definitely be under investigation for that incident. I wonder if I can get a replay of it.
Well, what can we say apart from DCT got Yunho parked right there quite clearly. Yunho was being so good. Yunho was being just so good right there. And for Ulsan Diab, there was such a big chance, and you saw the swerve working and wasn't there, just wasn't there. Ulsan had clearly blocked off that line, but again, I think it's the second race in a row. Unfortunately that Yunho Park has had that sort of a misjudgment. Maybe I was a bit too quick to praise him, who knows. Maybe.
Youngjae Lee has also had a problem. Not sure where it was. Possibly down into the chase here. This was the number 19 car, Quadro E-Rain Racing Team. This was your... let's see what's happened here. Into the chase. Oh, it locks up. It's just a simple error.
For a pole sitter of all the people.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what to say. For Quadro E-Rain, this could have been so much more than what it is right now. And watch for the rejoin. I hope they were okay right there as well. But seriously, Connery, this has flipped up the entire race on its head. If Yunho Park gets a penalty, which could be very, very likely, at least from our judgment right here, this gives Atlas BX, Connery, such a big haul of points. This is amazing.
It's such a big swing. It also plays into the advantage of that car that's in the race lead right now. DCT Racing are in competition with their teammates for the championship lead. And I think with a penalty potentially coming Yunho Park's way, I think it might be minimum drive-through penalty, depending on how severe the stewards feel the incident is. It might even be a post-race time penalty. I don't know at this point. But this really, either way, plays into the hands of DCT Racing. They were basically, quote-unquote, the second DCT team coming into this competition, but now they might find themselves leading the championship at the end of this, depending on what happens to Yunho Park.
I don't know, Conrad. It's really very funny because normally when you see two teams or two cars rather dominating so well at the top, like the DCT cars have done so far, there comes a point where you wonder, well, are they ever going to make an error? Are they ever going to slip up? And in two consecutive rounds, we've seen both of the DCT cars had one error apiece. And the point is, if we do get a penalty for Yunho Park, they could have the bigger error, and that could be the one that swings the championship currently in the favor of the 11. And if they keep on doing too much of that, of course, it's common knowledge, but things will go even more towards Atlas BX, who so far haven't quite had the edge, but more incidents like this, more drop-off, more lost points, and suddenly, with 8 rounds to go, Atlas BX could be back in it.
Hong Sung Lee dropping back the order for PSR. I wonder what has happened to them. Into the chase. Let's see. Ooh.
Nice and easy.
Two tires on the grass in the entry. That's all that's required.
Additional, isn't it? Anyway.
I have to wait for a safe rejoin as well. Just about gets it. There we go. That's how to rejoin the circuit without really impeding anyone. But not great there for Team PSR, all things considered. Now, let's have a look at the battle for P4, because that one's still raging on between Atlas BX and Jojun Choi there in the number 46. I believe that's the Red Bull Motorsports machine, if my livery recognition is correct. Yes, it is. See, I'm getting used to these now by the end of the season. Jojun Choi in the 46 car. Again, even P5 here would be a very good result for Redcon.
It would be. For Redcon, when you just take into account what this season has been like so far, it's just been a bowl of muddy results here and there. There's not been anything big. There's not been anything to celebrate so far. I think in a couple of positions they were in a good situation. They were trying to get a few positions in, much like what we are seeing right now in this battle between Atlas BX and DCT. Atlas BX, Ulsan DR, I'm sorry. Yeah. But yeah, things can be better for Redcon, and this can be a big one for them.
Yeah, that's the battle for P6, and Hee Jung-an's not too happy about how that pass was negotiated. Flashing the lights on the way into the final corner. For Hee Jung-an, though, this is, touch wood, looking like a better race with the 13 DCT car, because that car has been typically the one that has had a horrible time in almost every single race here today. Not even today, of course, the entire season. So they're looking finally to get themselves a decent points haul here. They're looking for more as well. Oh my word! Hee Jung-an out 2 tires into the grass.
What was that? What was that? The DCT car just taking another level of risks, trying to make a move on the grass. Well, I don't think that's possible unless you use the Honda lawnmower right then. The other car is also a Honda lawnmower. Oh, this is crazy. This was bold and brave, but eventually nothing ventured and nothing gained for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't complain in that situation, really. Careful with the mountain section, though. Another flash of the lights there from Hee Jung-an. Again, careful. It is a penalizable offense. Junhui Kim and Jojun Choi in P4 and 5 at the moment. This battle has been raging on, I would say. Not actively side by side, really, but still something that's very, very close. And with under 15 minutes to go now, halfway point in the race, something that can very quickly turn on its head.
100%. And that's always a possibility in the AMX Esports Championship. How many times have we seen races that were totally sane until it all blew up with one minor incident here and there? I quite like it. I quite like the volatility. And here's a message from race control from Ricardo Edelman, who's come up and said that the 999 parked on itself, Conway. That's how they had this big drop of positions early on.
Oh, okay. Look at this fight though for P6. Hee Jung-an and Ming-Yu Song absolutely just barging each other at the moment, trading paints, flashing the lights again for Hee Jung-an. He lets him go, looks down the inside of the final corner. Oh, this is one of those ones, Sumo, that can end in tears. I'm already feeling it now.
Exactly, things are getting a bit too risky right now.
Race lead, what has happened to Cheon Park?
What?
Yunho Park is side by side with him now, looking to go the long way around at Griffin's Bend. Something's happened to Chi-Hung, or Chi-Hung even.
Yeah, who knows, maybe Yunho has just driven like hell and maybe got that position back in. Fascinating to see what's happening at the top. So far, Yunho hasn't been able to get it done, but hey, could very well have a few odd minutes left to go. And considering the fact that the penalty could be off, as Ricardo has explained, this could mean a direct win for Yunho. Who knows?
Could be. There's old Sandial Motorsports looking for the inside through the main section. Again, very tricky to even get yourself alongside through here, let alone complete a pass. So he's just going to have to wait and bide his time, wait for the end of this section. Speaking of the end of this section, that's where Cheongsam Park and Yunho Park are currently negotiating their way down through the field. But Yunho Park, that was a lap and a half. It was a below, it was a 2 minutes flat 0.9 compared to 2 minutes 2.2 for Cheongsam Park. That was a blistering lap there from Yunho Park. That was crazy. It wasn't that Cheongsam Park was really off the pace. It was just a lap from the gods from Yunho Park.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how that happened. Yunho Park, it seems like it was just liberated in a way.
Oh no!
Because what's happened?
Cheongsam Park off.
Oh my, Cheongsam Park just seems to have been distracted perhaps, maybe by that move that Yunho made. It could have been that, just a loss of concentration, and off he goes. Things are just slipping away for the 11 Conry. It's a quick replay of what happens. I think he's just missed his braking point quite clear. Or maybe just put a couple of wheels on the grass. Either of the two, but either way, it's not going well. When you consider that Yunho could be not having a penalty as well, it's just a double whammy now.
There it is. There's the run into the chase. Yeah, just missed his braking point. Had no other option but to completely abort the corner. Cut across the grass. And as a result, new race leader, Yunho Park, up into P1 for TCTE Racing.
Oh man, this is not working out for Cheongsam. But hey, give me a second. Allow me a second to explain why Yunho might be not getting a penalty. Now, it's so awesome that we have our race steward Ricardo right here in the YouTube chat explaining this to us. And what happened was that the Korean Automobile Racing Association was judging it alongside, and they said that the number 12 car was on the inside line the whole straight. He was just moving over while braking, and the number and the car, the old Sandia car, spun on itself in a way. That is why Yunho was not at fault. And it's crazy, right? On paper, it looked like Yunho was the one making contact. He was the one causing the old Sun car to crash out. But it's these minor judgments that when you slow it down, when you take the replay, that actually tell you the truth of the story.
Yeah, it's. I think that was always going to be one of those edge cases because you have to dictate now whether or not the car on the inside was significantly alongside. And for me, at least, I don't think Yunho Park was significantly enough alongside to be able to be granted a car's width of space on the inside. That's the assessment I would have come to. But then again, that's why we have race stewards. They have sometimes differing opinions, differing views of the incident, and that's what makes the stewarding fair. So that's different people can come to a consensus about an incident instead of having one person dictate the flow of the entire race and the biases that come with that. So I still feel like Yunho Park's gone away with them, though.
Yeah, exactly. But still, whatever happens on that, you can't quite doubt the fact that he's just put it behind him, and he has attacked so crazily. Bless you, Conry.
Don't worry, I was muted on stream when I did that, so that was fine. But 9 minutes left to go here in this one. Yunho Park, he's got 4.3 seconds over the car behind already, by the way. It's crazy how fast he's going at the moment. He just got to, well, I would say for him, back off a little bit at this point. You don't need to be pushing that much now. You got that 4-second gap. I know what potentially he might be doing is that he still thinks he might get a penalty. So that he's continuing to push on just in case he either gets a drive-through or a time penalty at the end of this one. But he doesn't know that that it's no further action at the moment.
I think it's a good thing to do until it spills over. I mean, even though there might be no penalty, but what's the harm of you just pushing hard and building up the gap? There's literally nothing going wrong, right? Until you clip a barrier or something goes wrong. So I don't mind this approach from Yunho. He's just asserting dominance in a way, and it's the most clean way of asserting dominance in relation to what goes on the internet these days with that term. So it's a good one.
There we go. Redcon Motorsports running on their roof right now. P5 for the moment. This has been about, let's remain around about half a second away from each other for the vast majority of this portion of the race. 8 minutes left to go here in this one. Jojun Choi, like I said before, 5th place finish for Redcon Motorsports will be absolutely fantastic. So they don't necessarily need P4 at this point. I'm having a look to see where they are in terms of championship. Redcon Motorsports, they're down in 16th in the championship at the moment. They only have 19 points to their name. So a result like this could just launch them up the field. They can get past, I would say, well, they can get past maybe DCT Esports, the 13 car. They can get past PSR potentially with Grit Motorsports, Atlas BX E-Racing Team with one of their cars. Could maybe get themselves up past Team PS3-1 into 10th. So a lot is on the line here for Redcon Motorsports. So remember, you're starting to get into prize-paying positions at that point as well with regards to the championship.
Exactly. So this is the kind of result you actually need to boost your confidence in the championship. And Jojun Choi is certainly doing that. And he can maybe go back and give insights to the influencer driver, to the real-world driver of this team that, right, this is how you do it, guys. This is how you get things done. And together with the team, they can gain so much when you have two offline events coming up in this championship as well, I mean to say.
I mean, those are the big money events, aren't they? Those are the events that potentially get you the most points. Oh my god, I'm just seeing Junie Kim ahead here, just almost tagged the wall into McPhillamy Park there. Yeah, so no closer than that for number 10. Yeah, with Redcon at the moment, this is a very good opportunity for them to secure some great points, launch themselves up a couple positions in terms of championship standings as well. This is the result that they've been waiting for. They just need to convert. They're clear from behind, so it might be, as long as nothing goes horribly wrong, minimum P5 for Redcon. Could be P4 if they pull off this pass. And Jay Hooklim's not too... actually, that's a bit of lap traffic further down the road. Jay Hooklim's about 7 seconds further down the road. That car you can see in the distance there, that is a little bit of lap traffic.
Nice and chill for Jojun Choi right now. I think the best place that he can possibly be in right now, to be very honest with you. And they've reacted to it very smartly. There's no nerves from them right now about being in P number 5, a position where they genuinely haven't been so far in this year.
Yeah, they're very much out of position compared to where we're used to seeing them, but now they could potentially make their mark, get themselves up into those those prize-paying positions, and look optimistic coming into the next couple of rounds. That's the objective for them. So let's see their progress throughout this event. There's the side-by-side with the lapped traffic, I will mention. So they're able to get through on that without any trouble. So that's one of the risks gone for the end of the race now.
Yeah, exactly. So things have calmed down in that aspect as well. And you need that at Bathurst, right? You can't expect lap traffic to come in and wreck your race, because it's as if you need more variables in this race, to be honest. It's as if the, well, what's the word for that? The elevation changes and the barriers are not enough. So you add lap traffic into the mix. Now we can just focus clearly on the battle without anything else. And that is one pure thing we all love to see.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, well, let's have a look at the fight, the lap traffic behind. That's not someone that's catching on this battle. Remember, that is something that should stay out of this one. Gap up for the race lead is up above 5 seconds now. By the way, Jae-Hyuk Lim is catching on P2. That's all I'm saying. Look at that gap now. Half a second.
Yeah, bit by bit, he's closed it up quite a fair bit. And this could be Atlas BX versus Team DCT. I always get confused between DCT and BTC. Again, it's so confusing to say it this way. But yes, this could be fun all the way through, because Jae-Hyuk Lim has been one driver who's been there or thereabouts. No. And there's that error. There's that error.
That's a big error for Cheong Park. Loses second place now to Jae-Hyuk Lim's Atlas BX car. The number 9. That's the easiest position he'll gain all day long, and it doesn't look like Cheong Park is really comfortable with that car. He again did a 2:02.3 across the line. That is well off the pace compared to Jae-Hyuk Lim and Yunho Park, who both did lap times inside of 2-minute flat. So it did Cheong Park in the first half of the race hit a wall or something and damage the car? I'm just having a look at the right side of that car. Looks fine. Looking left side, looks okay. He is struggling though, so maybe the tracking's out somewhere on that car. Let's go on the onboard. Well, we can't quite see because there's always turns at this point, but yeah, steering looks straight. It just car doesn't seem incredibly stable at points.
The driver doesn't seem very confident in the car. That's the one thing I can say. And okay, let me lay down the context in terms of the championship. Last time out at Barcelona, this was the team that could not quite execute the race to perfection. They fell down and the number 12 car was the one gaining the advantage. This time out, they made that error under braking that allowed Yunho Park to go ahead. Again, they've made an error. That's not just let Yunho Park, but also Jae-Hyuk Lim go. Things are falling down, Condry. I think this could well be the one moment where you see the balance well and truly shifting towards number 12. As much as I don't want that to happen and this to be a one-sided championship, I think the confidence has really gone all the way towards the 12 camp. Seriously, this feels like a big moment in the title.
Yeah, it does feel that way. Yunho Park right now extending his advantage in the championship. Well, it's not his alone advantage in the championship. It is the team's advantage of DCTE Racing over DCT Racing. I will put in a request for next season saying make the team names a little bit more different from each other, like we have in our usual racing, like Team Redline Blue and Team Redline Pink and things like that. It is a little bit easier to differentiate between the two of them, but that's an issue for next season. But Junhui Kim in 4th place, continuing to manage that gap, although Jojun Choi really got himself a pretty good run out of the first turn there, closing up a couple of tenths of a second. So Redcon Motorsports looking for P4, forces Junhui Kim to go defensive at least slightly into the right, but the Redcon car simply too far back. And this is the final lap, by the way.
Wait, what? Really? Oh yeah, half an hour has passed, believe it or not. Half an hour actually has passed in this race, which means that opportunities are limited. You've gotten by surprise there, really.
Oh, my words. That's priceless. Thanks, Seoul.
I was genuinely clueless.
We do have, I don't know if you know, but we always sort of reference little things you say in our producers chat sometimes, and it's all in good fun. It's all pretty funny. I mean, I remember fondly a particular wood situation that happened a little bit.
Pretty
a couple of months ago. But ignoring that, though, there's the confirmation of the final lap here, and what a performance it has been from Yunho Park. Not without drama, though, not without controversy with the incident with the Ulsan DR Motorsports car earlier on in this main race, but it's going to be the double here for Yunho Park. Sprint race win converted into main race win from P8 on the starting grid for the main race. Yunho Park and DCTE Racing will come across the line to win this sim racer event at Bathurst. DCTE Racing extend their advantage in the championship.
Big one. This is a big one. This could be where the tide really turns towards the number 12 car in this championship. Meanwhile, Jae Klim and Junwee Kim for Atlas BX Conrad. This is huge across the line, and you saw that got rather close there as well. This was a very fun race, all things considered. And when you consider what could happen in the championship too, this could be a race filled with context at the end of the season.
So the sim drivers have given us a show once again here in this season. We head to the influencer round in a week's time to see how they do, and then a week after that we will get the real life drivers from each team competing out there. We're waiting for the rest of the drivers to head their way through. I think the last car will be this Grit Motorsports car piloted by Hong So Jang, so he's heading his way through the final corner now to finish the event. But my words, here we go. We will be able to get our unofficial race results from Bathurst for this round of the championship. A lot to talk about here in this one, a lot to mull over before next week's event. But let's have a look at those unofficial results. Yunho Park by 8.5 seconds wins over Jae Klim. DCTE Racing top of the pile. Atlas BX Esports team giving themselves a good run this time around, and great job from Jae Klim to come away with no penalties at the end of this one finally, as he's throughout the previous sim driver events he has gotten himself into trouble sometimes with the stewards. So P2 in the main race for him is legit. As Chi Young Park in P3 for DCT Racing, Juni Kim in P4 for Atlas BXE Racing team, Jojun Choi for Redcon in 5th, with DCT Esports' Hee Jung An in 6th. One Racing's Jaehyun Lee, great result for the new team. In 7th place, Mingyu Song, what could have been, though, without that incident at the front with Yunho Park. They would feel a little bit hard done by that one, but still recover up into a respectable P8 finish. Dookie Lee, from the very back of the starting grid, so 19th spot on the grid, gains 10 positions up into 9th, so great job for the Solar Indigo racing car. Youngjae Lee in P10 here today. Then the bottom half of the field, Dongjin Kim, DR Mighty in 11th, with PSR's Hang Sung Lee in 12th. Grit Motorsports, Hong Sojang in 13th, with Midas Racing's Jihan Lee in 14th. Team PS31's Jay Hackley in 15th with 2 run in 16th. Solar Indigo Performance 17th, E-Euro in 18th, and Team BTC. That is so unfortunate there for Young Tak Lee, having to pull the car over, take the tow back to pit lane after looking relatively good in this one. But he will be scoring a paltry amount of points there down in P19. Every single position gets points here, by the way, but down in P19, you're only getting single digits, that's for sure. But the race is over here at Bathurst for the AMX Esports Championship. And again, we have a little bit of a different picture now coming into the next round of competition for this one, Sumel. DCTE Racing, that was the most ideal day it could have been for them. Of course, in terms of results, in terms of how they got the results, maybe not so ideal. But in the end, it's all about those final results being published, and right now it says that DCTE Racing have the double.
And the stewards don't mind saying that it was not their fault as well. So things are just going nice and well for them. It's the perfect situation, as you rightly mentioned. The birds will be chirping right now, so the sky will be blue, nice and windy day. That's what it feels like for them. On the other side of the garage, though, it feels like a storm is about to come in, because not one Connery, but 2 mistakes. And now you might get on me for saying, well, why are you targeting their mistakes so much? Everyone is human. To err is only normal, which is true. But this championship so far, Conrad, the 12, I think even the crash right there was a debatable mistake, and the stewards have said it wasn't. So far this year, they haven't made a single critical error so far.
Yeah.
The 11 has, not 1, but 3 of them, which is why it stands out so much. The fact that the 12 is doing it better is the main problem, not that the fact that they're making an error. It's just how many of them. That's the main concerning point now.
Yeah, so it's a result that could have been quite different today, given a different set of circumstances. That's probably an obvious statement to make, but I'll explain it in this way. With that reverse grids, anything could have happened there in the mountain section. We could have had another track blockage. We could have had multiple cars, multiple front-running cars, go out of this race as they were caught up in that from P7, P8, etc., etc. But that didn't happen. Everyone was clean through that first lap, for the most part. So we didn't get that whole mixing up situation like we potentially thought we might get with a safety car and then having to reset the race from that point forwards. We didn't have a safety car in this feature event. We had it in the sprint race, which is probably the opposite way around to what you would usually expect. And Yunho Park and DCT E-Racing just capitalized on that. We know how good they are when it comes to getting back through the field after a reverse grid, and they just put on another lesson today.
Yep, 100%. And what strikes me is that his pace in the junior race was not because, he was just having a bad day or whatever. It seemed like they did not prioritize that much. And it's only fair because Yunho Park in the junior championship has a big lead. He can afford to focus more on the senior championship where they are in a fight with somebody. And this is what they did. And in both cases, Conray, I think Yunho Park walks out as the MVP of the day. P3 in the junior race, now a big result in this one by taking the win. This is just turning out to be a masterclass from DCT E-Racing. As for the others, things are getting better. But hey, here's a positive. The 13 car was fine. They lived to see another day, Conray, somehow.
They finally got P6. They finally got a top 10 finish in a main race. So hats off to the number 13 car for not getting in trouble this time around. Same with J-Hook Lim as well. Didn't get a penalty. He seemed to have gotten the habit of that from previous sim driver races. He kept clean, got second place, got a decent amount of points for Atlas BX Esports team. So they basically did damage limitation for all intents and purposes, considering the pace of the DCT E-Racing car. Great job from Redcon Motorsports as well. P5 finish
100%.
for the team that, coming into this one, was 16th in the point standings out of 20 cars.
It's been huge for them. It's great that we're getting to see some sort of, I wouldn't say upsets, but we're getting to see relatively underperforming teams get their due in the world of motorsport in the last few days. We saw Williams finally scoring double points, and Redcon haven't quite been like Williams. They've been scoring points here and there, but not quite in the same stature as all the other teams. P5 for them is just outstanding, Conrad. And I'm noticing every single round we're having one or the other team that's just getting a big result. I think a few rounds ago we had Team PS31 who got a big result. A few rounds ago we saw Team BTC finally get their due as well. So I'm liking the fact that there's one team every time coming in and showing everyone that, right, well, we may be down there, but it doesn't mean that we have a bad team on the whole.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that all said and done, we have to look forward to our next event. It will be another online event, of course, and this time it will be the influencers, not at an oval this time. It will be the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, the short layout of Brands Hatch. For all intents and purposes, an oval. And I will say there's one tricky corner of Druids, and that's basically it. So how's that going to turn out, Sumo? Because if you wanted a simple road circuit for influencers to go around, that would probably be near the top of your list, right?
Yes, but no, because I'll actually take a week to think about how you can perfectly describe Brands Hatch Indy with an influencer race. It's probably going to be as chaotic as what we saw early on Daytona with the M4 GT3, except here you've got the break. And isn't this, Conray, the first time that the influencers actually have to brake and turn? Is it not?
Brake on a normal lap, yeah. I think they've done a lot of braking trying to avoid each other.
There's that, yes. And turn right as well for the first time for them.
Yeah, as well. We're on uncharted territory here, Sumil.
Exactly.
We'll go to Brands Hatch Indy next week, and that's going to be. I think we have to mentally prepare ourselves for what we'll see there, because
we do.
It might end up being how can I put this nicely? I don't know if I can put it nicely.
Carbon fiber.
It'll be a different style of racing that we'll see there. So,
exactly.
That's something to look forward to. Same time next week, by the way.
Yep.
You know, because we do have a little bit of an alteration in terms of the schedule here. We didn't have our offline event that we were meant to have, so we're going to have basically a double-header offline event at the end. So we'll have two offline events back-to-back at the end, which is going to be crazy. It does mean that these online races potentially a little bit more important for setting yourself up for those online events.
So true, so true. Now
Offline
take
events
up
even.
the case of an Atlas BX right now, right? They've been traditionally, not traditionally. How can I say traditionally when it's only been one race? But they've been good in the last offline event. Now imagine if they build up this sort of gap that they've built up today. It brings so much more context, not pressure, but context that when you go into the offline event, you can probably earn even more. You can perhaps trump up the DCT team, if anything, right? So this is a big opportunity for both the teams. It's not like, oh, heading into the last round, you're not somewhere closer, you might just lose it altogether. Few good races, and you could jump up the order, which is, I think, what we all love to see, right, at the very end.
Yeah, absolutely. That is what we all like to see, but all good things must come to an end, and we do have to wrap up the broadcast here. I've been Connery Maddock. I've been with Sumil Arora for the duration of this broadcast. Remember, same time, same place next week is the influencer round in the BMW M4 GT3s at Brands Hatch Indy. That's certainly one you don't want to miss. Maybe you can make some good memes post on Twitter from it.
Yeah.
But with that, I've been Connery Maddock, that's been Sumil Arora, that's been RaceSpotTV for the AMX ESPORTS Championship. We'll see you in 1 week's time. And, well, we'll have to say goodbye for now.